this recording. Also, great, amazing tips that will be useful for you in your job search or your tech journey in general. Okay, now let's get into it. Before I get started, I want to ask us a question. And I'm really excited that this class is very interactive. So I'd like us to think on this. Have you ever felt like you're stuck in a career that's going nowhere? Or if you're here and you're stuck in a career that's going nowhere, just type in yes in the chat section. If you're here and you're in a career path and you're thinking, can this be more? I think I can do more. But the problem is that you just don't have the skills. You don't have the knowledge that it takes for you to move from where you are right now to where you need to be. Okay, I can see Charity, yes. Abiola, yes. So I want you to know this. You are not alone. This is not the first time anyone has felt stuck in their career path, and that is exactly why we exist in Tenalytics. So the question on everyone's mind now is, who is Tenalytics, and why should you care what we have to say? Now, we're not just another online training platform. There are loads of those, and I'm sure you must have come across them on your journey to finding Tenalytics. Now, what Tenalytics is an ed tech company that has spent the last 5 years bridging the gap between I want to change my life and I just got hired internationally. And we do this by helping people do one thing. I'm sure you already know this, transition into high-paying tech roles regardless of their background. Now, over the years, we've helped over 3,000 people land their first tech jobs, not just locally, but in places like the UK, in US, in Canada, in Germany, in places all across the world. Give me a minute. Oh, fantastic. Okay. Now, I know that you must have come across courses or platforms like Coursera and Udemy and the rest, but like I always say, these are passive. Now, while they give you the skills that you need, they give you a bunch of videos for you to watch, and then you do this at your own pace. They don't build that community. They don't give you all the resources that you need to take you from where you are right now to where you need to be. Because one thing when it comes to the job market is it's one thing to have skills. And there are a lot of skilled, talented people who are jobless today. It's another thing for you to know how to use those skills that you have to position yourself in the market. Now, in the last 5 years, we've placed over 3,000 people into roles with companies like the NHS. We've placed people in roles with companies like Deloitte, Amazon, Silicon Valley startups. And many of these people now earn over 80K with full visa sponsorships. And the best part about this, what I really love about this is that these people did not start with connections. They did not have degrees in computer science or from great universities or friends in high places. They started exactly where you are. Now, as we go on today, you're going to understand a few things. One of them is why we deliberately limit ourselves to just 8 laser focused programs. Like you can see here, data analytics, business analysis, data science, financial analytics. Of course, there are loads and loads of courses that we can offer. And if you're here, you're probably wondering, why does Tenalytics offer only 8 of these courses? Now, the reason why we do this is because these are roles that employers are desperately trying to fill in 2025. And like I always say, in as much as you learn the skills in Tenalytics, that is not our goal. Our goal is to take you from where you are right now to the job that you need or that you desire in the next couple of months. So how we say this is how successful we are is by the number of people who have passed through our doors in Tenalytics and gotten jobs. Now, you must have come across some of our testimonials on LinkedIn. You must have seen some of them on YouTube, on Instagram, and we're very transparent about this because you can always hit up these people. You can chat them up on LinkedIn. You can hit them up on Instagram and ask them, hey, I'd love to know about your journey in Tenalytics. And I can tell you one thing for a fact. For every testimonial that you see on Tenalytics page, there are about 20 more that never made it there because they said, oh, I don't like being in the public eye. Oh, I don't want to have my face there. But these are real people, these are real results, and you can be one of them. Now, by the end of this session, you're going to know three things. You're going to know one, which roles pay well and are actually accessible to beginners so that you can start from wherever you are with whatever you have. The second thing you're going to know is what skills are truly required versus what companies say they want. Now, the third thing that you're going to know is how Tenalytics can plug you directly into this pipeline from anywhere you are in the world with real projects, real mentorship, and guaranteed job placement. Now I'm going to need something from you before we go ahead, just to be sure that this class is here with me and we are all committed on this journey. I'm going to need you to type in the word committed in the chat if you're ready to see how all of this works, not just to watch passively. I want everyone who is on this call to follow me along as I walk you through how exactly you can take yourself from where you are right now to where you need to be. The next 90 days of your life could change the trajectory entirely. Okay, let's type in the word committed in the chat. Fantastic. I'm seeing a lot of committed people. Okay, iPhone is committed, Jennifer committed, Owola B committed. Fantastic, fantastic. Love to see this. Abisola committed. Fantastic. Okay, now let's get into it. Before I walk you through this, I'm sure you're wondering, who is Lola? And who is this person who is going to walk me through all of these incredible opportunities that's waiting for me in tech? Let me tell you why I am uniquely positioned to guide you through this. I've spent the last 10 years scaling products and operations in fintech, in SaaS, and even government-backed projects. I've led teams, I have built systems, and I've driven growth across Africa and Europe for about a decade. Now, today at Tenalytics, I'm VP of Operations and Execution, and my goal is very clear. My goal is how to turn learners into global hires. And here at Tenalytics, I build the frameworks and the pathways that make someone in Lagos or someone in Nairobi employable in Toronto, in Berlin, or in London. This is from wherever you are in the world. Now, and I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again. This is why I love tech, because tech builds the pathways that connects people from anywhere they are in the world. So the things that I share with you today, they are not just theories. I've worked in tech, I've worked in different settings like remote, hybrid, on-site, as head of operations in fintech, head of product growth in e-commerce, and as COO running service delivery systems. And I'm going to tell you one thing that each of these roles taught me. If I could put everything into and summarize it into one sentence, it would be markets move fast. And only those who position themselves early will win every single time. And you find this in companies. So say you have, I'm sure we've got some great visionaries here. You've come up with some amazing ideas and you thought, oh, this is going to change the world. And then the next week you see that someone has launched a startup idea. And you're wondering, what happened? So the idea though, the thing is that everything moves fast, the market and even the people, especially the market. So if you don't start today with where you are, with what you have, you probably will never get started. And when you do eventually get started, it might be too late for you. Now, I've seen this, so I would encourage everyone here to please take this seriously. When I tell you that the global tech talent shortage is real, it's urgent, and it represents the biggest career opportunity in our lifetime. However, there is a very narrow window. Now, I've seen this before. In 2018, remember when everyone said digital marketing is saturated? And I'm sure when you were scrolling Instagram, you must have seen a lot of people who were like, I'm going to teach you digital marketing, or this is how I made 10K with digital marketing. Those who hesitated when that movement started, they missed out. It's the same thing with Bitcoin. And I could go on and on and on about a lot of missed opportunities because people were not ready to take advantage of them when it was hot. Those who acted fast were able to build six-figure careers. Do you remember when COVID-19 hit and it was mostly those who had mastered the art of selling without physical contact who were winning? We had companies that were shutting down left, right, and center because their model was not built to support remote work. So this is why I say that it's very important that you ask yourself, where exactly do I want to be today? And what is available in the market? What can I pivot to right now? And how sustainable it is. So if you're asking yourself those questions and you are here today, then you are in the right place. Stay with me and I'm going to show you how and help you answer those questions. Now, today, millions of people in the world are working from home every day. People who are just like you and I. I need to tell you about Grace. Grace is one of our alumni, and she has one of the most inspiring stories that I've heard. Now, with Tenalytics, one thing you would learn is that there are lots and lots of inspiring stories. And I think that's one of the best things about the business model. It's not just taking people from, oh, I'm looking for a job in tech, and now I have a job in tech. It's the emotions that's part of it. It's this is what I came here for, or this is what I've been searching for. Now, 2 years ago, Grace was working shifts as a security guard in Nigeria. She was working in Ikeja, Lagos. And at the time, 2 years ago, she was earning 65,000 naira monthly. Now, if you're not familiar with Nigerian currency, you can just do the math and convert 65,000 monthly to dollars and see just how low that is. And that is exactly what someone who had two kids to feed was earning at the time. And the worst part of this is that she would work late at night and then she would come home and she wouldn't even get time to spend with her kids. So she'd catch a few hours of sleep and then she'd have to wake up to maybe help them with their homework. And then she does a couple of things and then she's heading out again to her night job. And one day, as Grace often says, she thought to herself, I mean, there has to be a better way that I can do this. There has to be a better way that I can feed my family. There has to be a better way that I can increase the quality of life that we have and still get to spend time with them. Now, this is the part where it gets incredible. Grace joined our data analytics program. And she said at the time that it was just something that she thought, well, I've always been hearing about tech. And I'm thinking, maybe I just give this a shot. But she wasn't excited about seeing how it was going to work out. As a matter of fact, she had just borrowed money to join. And she said, anywhere this takes me to, I'll just see. But she was very pessimistic about it. But the best part of it was she put in her all into this. And I'm thinking it's because it was like a sink or swim situation. Even though she was managing her expectations, at the end of the day, she still wanted to get the best that she could out of this. Now, just 4 months into the program, not 6 months, not a year, Grace landed a remote data analyst position with a US healthcare startup. And Grace was earning, she got a starting salary of $45,000. Now, for people who are in the UK, who are in the US, who are in Canada, 45,000 annually might seem like a small thing. But for someone who is in Nigeria, that is a lot of money. We're talking millions of naira. This is about 15 million naira. And you can do the conversion. Now, overnight, Grace was able to change not just her life, but the life of the people around her, the life of her children. And she was able to give them that quality of life that she had always dreamed of. And I would say that the best part for someone like Grace wasn't just the salary, it was being able to spend extra time with her family while she worked remotely and made enough to support them. Now, the thing is that today, a story like Grace's is no longer unique. We see this every day, we hear this every day. You could go online and search how remote work is changing people's lives. You could go on Reddit and you'll find lots and lots of threads of how people have turned their lives around for the better working remotely. But here's the thing, it's now becoming the new normal. And if you don't get into it today, then you'll be one of those who's left watching on the sidelines while everyone is winning in tech. And I'm going to repeat this again. It's now becoming the new normal to hear stories like Grace's and how being able to work from anywhere in the world has completely changed her life, because when she converts the currency that she earns into her country's currency, she's able to live a much better life than she was able to afford before. This is becoming the new normal. And if you don't get into it today, you're going to be on the sidelines watching while everyone else is changing their lives. But the good thing is that for everyone who is gathered here today, you are uniquely positioned to take advantage of this. Now let's get into it. What we have done at Tenalytics is we have built a system that we call the LPA system. It's called the Learn, the Package, and the Apply system. Now you're probably wondering, what is LPA and how can LPA help me? Now, what separates our 3,000 plus successful graduates from everyone else is not just luck, it's this system. We've seen this work over and over again for learners who have followed the very same framework, and you are about to be one of them. So what is the first thing that you need to do in order to unlock this power? Naturally, as you can see on my screen, the first thing is for you to learn. Now, when you're learning, you don't just go and learn anything. You don't just go on Coursera. You don't just go on Udemy and learn the very first thing that you see. You have to first do your research and say, what careers are the most in demand? What careers pay the highest? And this is where this is your sweet spot. When you understand the careers that are in demand, then you're uniquely positioned to take advantage of that. If you're learning what everyone else is learning, if you're doing the same thing, then you're replicating a playbook that's been used over and over and over again. Now, when you learn these high in demand careers, one thing that we always advise is that you focus. Focus on one. We've got people who I want to learn product management, I want to learn cybersecurity, I want to learn data analytics. There is zero focus, and before you know it, you're hopping around the board and you're changing courses. You start one, you don't finish, and that's why we always push for people to start one course with Tenalytics, finish, you learn all the skills that you need. What we call those are transferable skills. So say, for example, you come into Tenalytics and you start as a business analyst. You can always use your business analyst skills to transition into agile projects manager, or you can use that to transition into data analytics. What you have done with your very first course, for example, in business analysis, is that you have built a background, you have built a foundation that provides you with what we call transferable skills. And those transferable skills will be useful as you move on to the next stage in your career. Now, once you learn, the next stage is for you to package. Now, what are you packaging if you have not learned? That's the question. Here is where 90% of talented people fail. Let me put things into perspective for you. You walk into a supermarket and you want to buy chocolates, and you've got two identical chocolate bars on the shelf. However, there's one difference. One of them is in a torn packaging and the other comes in a premium packaging. You can see this on the shelf. One of them in a torn packaging, the other in a premium packaging. However, they're both the same brand, these two chocolates. So now the question is, which one do you choose? Do you choose the one that comes in the premium packaging, or do you choose the one that comes in the torn packaging? So I'm going to stop here because I'd love to know your thoughts. I think it's very clear, but I want to see what everyone else thinks. So do you choose the one that comes in the torn packaging or the one that comes in the premium packaging? Please share your thoughts in the chat question. I'd love to see what we think about this. Share your thoughts in the chat. Do you choose the one that comes with the premium packaging, or do you choose the one that comes in the torn packaging? Okay. Okay. Let's share our thoughts in the chat. Okay. I will choose the one in the premium packaging. Fantastic. Matilda, premium. Okay, premium, of course, exactly. So it's very clear what the answer here is. Everyone would choose the one that comes in the premium packaging. And you have to understand this is exactly how the human psychology works. what they call vanity. That is exactly what recruiters are looking for. They want to see what you've done. They want to know that you know what you are talking about before they even call you in for an interview. And that is why packaging is so critical. Anyone would go for premium packaging. Now, part of what we offer when it comes to the package deal, the most critical thing here is employability. And under employability, we're looking at things like a CV revamp, LinkedIn optimization, portfolio, mentorship, etc. All of this is what your audience sees. And when I say your audience, I mean the recruiters that you are targeting. When you're applying for jobs on LinkedIn, when they come on your profile, who do they see? What kind of posts do they see? What kind of comments do they see? And this is very critical when you're applying for jobs. So all of this is what we teach you at Tenalytics. Now, moving on, once you package yourself and you say, oh, I have learned the skills that is required, now the next step is for me to package myself. What do you do with all of that packaging? The next step is for you to apply. Now, when you're applying, I've heard of people who would say, oh, I'm applying for jobs, I'm going to apply for 10, I'm going to apply for 10 jobs a day. Now, that is fantastic. I think, applying for 10 jobs per day is fantastic. In fact, that is the minimum you have to apply for in order for you to get a call back. But you see, one thing that a lot of people take for granted is the quality of jobs that they apply for. So you're applying for 10 jobs and you're just clicking on apply, 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 apply. You're not even reading. You're not sure what quality it is. You're not sure if it is something that aligns with what you are looking for. And this kind of inconsistent applying, I call it inconsistent because now you're packing both the ones that you're qualified for, the ones you're unqualified for, the ones that fit into your requirements, the one that do not fit into your requirements, and you're applying for everything. That way, you're not getting the results that you need. So it is very important that you focus and you apply when it comes to the LPA. You apply this framework consistently, and that is where you will find results. We've got thousands and thousands of learners who have done this over and over again, and they've got astounding results using this very same framework. Now, one of our favorite stories that we love to share is Judith's story. And I think it's really impactful because of how Judith went from a carer in the UK to becoming a business analyst. Now, Judith, when she joined Tenalytics, she was working as a carer in the UK. But the thing was that she already had background in HR in Nigeria. She had years and years of experience, but she just didn't know how to position herself in the market for tech roles. She had no idea where to start. She had no idea how to enter the market. She had no idea where to look. The thing is, she knew that she wanted better, but like a lot of people, she was stuck at the how. How do I go from where I am right now to where I need to be? I've had a lot of people ask me that question. I've never worked in tech before. I'm just hearing tech. I'm hearing tech pro, Texas, but I have no idea how to transition into this. Now, let me tell you exactly how Judith accomplished this. Judith joined our business analysis program and she showed up to every mentorship session. She rebuilt her CV from scratch and she tailored it to every single application. And she practiced through multiple interview prep sessions. You see, the thing with results is that they don't just come just because you're applying this. Maybe you do it consistently for 2 days and then for the rest of the week, that's it, you take a break. You have to do it consistently for you to see results. If you start, you do it for 1 week and then you stop the next week, you're not getting the kind of results that you need, you give up on the market, well, that's it. You probably, and I'm saying this for some people who are on this call, and maybe you have followed this process, but where you keep breaking is when it comes to the apply level. And applying is not an easy thing because I'm going to talk more about this as we go on, but one thing that we always encourage people to do is to tailor their resumes for every single job that you're applying to. So applying is a job in itself, and not everyone is capable of doing that, or not everyone has the ability to be consistent when it comes to doing that. However, Judith painstakingly applies this framework, the learn, the package, and the apply. and then she started getting results. She went through the first round, she went through the second round, she went through the third round, then she got to the final stage and she got a job offer. This is exactly what everyone on this call is looking to accomplish. So the main question here is, how exactly did Judith accomplish this? Well, I'm going to tell you just before I play Judith's video so you can hear it from the horse's mouth. I'm going to tell you the things that our infrastructure provided that she couldn't get anywhere else. The first thing is that when she needed real roles to apply to, she had access to our internal job board. I'm going to talk more about this as we move forward, but this was very critical to the process because the jobs that you see on Indeed, the jobs you see on LinkedIn, the jobs you see everywhere, these jobs are saturated. Some of us might probably have gone to maybe you've been on LinkedIn searching for jobs and you've seen over 100 people have applied. And you're wondering, out of 100 people, how in the world are you going to notice my profile? And the thing is that the system, just once it hits that mark of 100, the system says over 100 people have applied, but it doesn't tell you the exact number. Chances are in those kind of jobs, you've got like thousands and thousands of job applications. And now your resume is just sitting in a black hole somewhere and no one probably ever looks at it. So we do this, we help you solve this problem by giving you access to our internal job board where you can apply for jobs that have limited competition, which increases your chances of visibility. Now, the second thing that Judith did here that was very critical to the results that she got is that when she needed job references, we provided them for her. Her employers called us directly and they tried to verify that Judith had actually worked with us because she stated that on her resume. And of course, we sang Judith's praises to heaven and back. And then the final thing is that when she got the job, she was actually prepared for the role because she had been learning and she had been practicing with us for months. The way I like to see things like this is it doesn't stop at when you get the job. If you had applied yourself during that learning phase and you really sat down and you learned everything in your first 30 days, in your first 60, 90 days, you would be very successful at your job because you consistently applied yourself, especially during the learn phase. Now, Judith followed the LPA system, the same one I just covered. And I'm going to say it again, learn, package, and apply. I'm going to play the video here so we can hear it from Judith's mouth.
That pressure really helped me. That in this job now, I'm about to take a higher role. Yeah, I'm about to take a higher role because within a few months, my boss was like, oh, I see you're very good. I said, yes. I got my training with Tenalytics and they're very good. Even my classmates that we went to school together in the UK, most of them are asking me. I've referred about 25 of them to Tenalytics.
Here, a popular face on the channel, Mr. Deza Suleiman, and I also have here Judith, aka Ngozi, aka I can help people get good jobs abroad. So, Madam Judith, today I just want you to share something brief about yourself. I know that you don't have time, and also share an honest advice for migrants who are looking for well-paying jobs abroad. Okay, your honest, genuine advice. Okay, fast.
All right, so thank you everyone for having me. I remember I was also a carer when I met Tolu. Yeah, I met her when she went to drop her child in school, same school with my daughter. And then she was telling me, oh, why not going to tech? I was like, what do you mean going to tech? Is that what you do? And then she said yes, that she got a job after she had a training with Tenalytics. I was like, wow, then give me the link because I've been trying to get one and then the one I got was in London. I was so expensive. I even bless God I haven't paid. So when she shared Tenalytics with me, I went to check on Instagram and I saw it. And then I joined. The fee was very okay because compared to what I was going to pay for, that one was so high. And then they were not my people. Of course, I might not even hear them speak. So I joined Tenalytics and then I took the training, and of which before I joined Tenalytics, I've tried to, because I studied computer science, I've tried getting jobs. I couldn't get, I was just doing healthcare jobs, which I wasn't even okay with. So, but then after I finished my training, I just remember that there was just, the only thing I did that I wasn't doing before was that the template Tenalytics gave for CV after the training, I just changed my CV to that. I changed the format and then I submitted it back to this same company that hired me in the US that I've been trying to get into for a long time. And then I got the job. It was just so surprising. I got the job.
Wow. So you're currently working for this US company?
Yes.
But you're living from home.
But you're living the best.
Yeah.
I work from home.
I like one thing that you said. I have not really thought about it. You said that the fact that like the people who teach you in analytics are very familiar to you.
Yes.
Okay. So now we've heard from the horse's mouth. I just wanted you to hear, to see how excited Judith was to talk about how she works from home. And I think it's a very critical part of this. Like I mentioned before, the amazing thing with tech is how tech opens up the pathways that you never thought were possible, is how it opens up the world to possibilities that you never, possibilities that you never even thought were possible. And now you can be in the UK, you can be working for a company in Canada, you can be in Canada, you can be working for a company in the US. And that's part of the advantages that Judith got, or the skills that she learns that gave her the unique positioning that she needed to get a role like this and work remotely. So Judith's transformation proves that it's not just about, in fact, it's not about where you start at all. It's about how you move. She came in with someone who had hopes, she had dreams, and today Judith is a living proof of why you have to keep going, of why you have to keep doing the hard things, even when it all seems impossible. Now, if we've all learned from Judith's story, or we are inspired by Judith's story, and you're thinking, this has to be me next, this has to be me telling my story and being excited next, I want you to drop a comment in the chat section and say, me next. Drop a comment in the chat section and say, me next. If you're seeing yourself as the next Judith and you're stepping into your future where you land a high-paying tech job in a career that you love. Fantastic, fantastic. I love how engaged everyone is. Dele is saying me next. Yolanda is saying me next. Opeyemi, me next. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Okay, Priscilla, I love your punctuation marks. You're very excited about this. That is very amazing. So anyone can get the same results that Judith got. All that matters is that you consistently, deliberately apply the LPA system. Now that we've heard from Judith, let's focus on you and how we can help you achieve the goals that you are aiming for. How can you get started on the first step of the LPA system, which is learn, or the LPA framework, as I like to call it? Because you must learn so you have something to package. If not, what are you packaging? What are you selling? And to do that, one of the most important things that you need to know is where you can find jobs that are in high demand. Now, I'm going to go back here and just repeat this again. In order for you to learn, you have to know which jobs are in high demand so that you are not wasting your time and learning something that doesn't give you the kind of results that you want. You're not looking for a job that doesn't have a lot of companies hiring for it, and now you've wasted your money, you've wasted your time, and you're applying to jobs consistently, which means that you're applying the package and the apply system properly. But because you got the learn part of the framework wrong, you are not getting the results that you need. Now at Tenalytics, one of the things that sets us apart from the solutions that we have in the market is that we run regular analysis to find out which jobs are in high demand and pay the highest salaries. And we do this by aggregating data from boards like LinkedIn, from boards like Built-in, Indeed, Glassdoor, and others. And then we take this data and we run analysis on which roles are paying the highest salaries right now. We're doing this so that you don't have to spend your time doing this. So we've already packaged the answers for you to the questions that you're asking, that we know that is important to you, and we've presented it to you. And those are the solutions that we focus on in Tenalytics. I'm going to talk more about that as we go on. Now, you can be rest assured that this is not guesswork. This is what I would call mathematical certainty about where the money is. Because again, our goal is not just for you to come in and you learn a course and now you're upskilled. I'm sure that when you probably saw the ad, you were thinking, oh, you know, I'm going to learn, or maybe when someone referred you, because most of the people that join Tenalytics program, they actually come in by referrals from people who have gotten the results that they're looking for. Now they're referring others so they can show them the way. Or now you're thinking, oh, I have the opportunity to upskill, to become a data analytics specialist, or to learn cybersecurity. I mean, that is amazing, but that is not what we really focus on here. I've said this over and over again. Our focus is on how can we help you land a high paying remote job. And now I've mentioned the job board analysis. The next thing that we do is we look at the World Economic Forum and we cross-reference everything that we have gathered when it comes to the job analysis with the reports in the World Economic Forum. We look at the Future of Jobs report, that is 2025. This is updated annually. So, and this tells us which role is going to explode in demand over the next 5 years, not just today. Now, this is available online, so you can actually Google for the World Economic Forum and look at the Future of Jobs report. But again, this is why it's important that you fill out the form that my colleagues will be dropping in the chat section. My colleague is already dropping that. So put in your details there so you can get access to this presentation, and you can always find this report and you can go back and look at it in your own time and see exactly where Tenalytics is pulling this data that we're talking about. But I'm going to be exploring more details on the World Economic Forum as we move on, so stay tuned. Now, once we have looked at the job, once we have done a job board analysis, we cross-referenced everything with the World Economic Forum, the next step is that we now analyze for visa eligibility. Now, this is critical because most of the people, if not all, who are looking for high paying jobs are not just looking for, oh, the jobs that I can do in this country. They're also looking for jobs that can give them visa pathways. So we map each role against the UK visa, the UK skills worker visa requirements, against the US H1B acceptance rates, and Canada's provincial nominee programs. And you can see a very detailed list here. And you know, when we did all of this analysis, and this is an analysis that we do annually as well, just to ensure that all our offerings are up to date, and we can make that promise that when you are done learning this course, there is definitely a job waiting for you if you consistently apply the frameworks that we have taught you. Now, once we did all of this analysis, what it consistently led us to, at least for the last couple of years, and this result is backed by the World Economic Forum, is a couple of roles like business analyst, data analyst, data scientist, agile scrum master, data engineer, cybersecurity, HR analyst, financial analyst. All of these roles on my screen are all on the skilled worker visa eligible occupations list. For the US, these job titles also have the highest H1B acceptance rate. And this data is public, this data is verifiable. You can go online and go look it up and be sure that Tenalytics is not coming here to lie to you. We're a data company, so everything that we put out is 100% backed by data. So when you combine the job board analysis, you combine the future market predictions and visa eligibility, you get these 8 career paths. And that is why our focus is narrowed and focused. I mean, laser focus on these career paths because the data is undeniable. These are the roles with the strongest salaries. These are the roles with the highest demand. And these are the roles with the longest runway. Now, the truth is that you can go online and you can learn any skill. But if the market doesn't want it, then you've wasted your time. And that is why we do this analysis, to make sure that you invest your time and your money and you're building a career that pays you back, not just a hobby that goes obsolete. So if you are here today and you're listening to this, then it's not by chance. It means that, like I've said before, you are asking the right questions. You are in the right place at the right time. Now, all you need is the right information, which is what we are giving to you. Now, I want to just quickly add something here. This is another thing that most people miss out on. This data, it changes, right? Nothing stays permanent. 5 years ago, data scientists like you can see here, it wasn't even on this list. It wasn't even a real job. 3 years ago, cybersecurity analyst wasn't on most visa lists. So the window for each of these roles is completely different. And right now in 2025, these eight are at the sweet spot: high demand, high pay, visa eligible. And the time to lock down one of these for yourself is now, right now. There's something I always like to refer to. Remember, if you know the story of Facebook, the story of MySpace, MySpace was a thing before Facebook became a thing. MySpace, they were in the market, they were dominating the market. Nobody knew what Facebook was. And then Facebook came in, they had the right data, they had the right marketing, they had the right product, and they took over completely. And because MySpace was unable to adjust as the market was moving and quickly read that data and say, oh, this is where the market trend is going. Let me quickly adjust where I'm standing. They lost out. And today, Facebook was able to dominate that market and give birth to monsters like Instagram, WhatsApp, and the rest of them. So my point is that if you want to get into any of these roles, the best time for you to get into it is now. You're saying, I want to change my job, I want to change my career path. Now we have laid out 8 career paths that will give you the best results. The best time for you to get in is now. Now, moving on, what I'm about to show you would either terrify you or it will excite you. Now, this is depending on which side of this massive shift you decide to position yourself on. Now, I want you to look at this data from the World Economic Forum. In the next 5 years, which is by 2030, only 5 years away, 170 million jobs are going to be created. And this is globally. But here's the thing, 92 million existing jobs are going to completely disappear. Now, I want you to look at this chart carefully. Now, each tiny square represents 1 million jobs. You see the purple section on the left? Just give me the purple section on the left here. Just a minute, please. Okay, yes. The purple section here on the left, my apologies, I couldn't see my screen for a minute. The purple section on the left here, now what this represents are jobs that are being destroyed. And while you have the green ones on the right, these are jobs that are being created. And the blue ones that you have in the middle, these are jobs that are going to survive. Now, this is data from the World Economic Forum. Just a minute. Let me go back. So we can see that again. I'm just going to escape. Okay. I'm just going to stop sharing my screen and then I'm going to share it again. I'm having some difficulties sharing what I want to share. Please give me a minute and we'll get back to sharing again. Fantastic. I think we should be good now. Okay. Fantastic. Yes, we are good now. Okay. So as I was saying, We've got the purple ones on the left, which represents jobs that are being destroyed. And then we've got the green ones on the right, which represents jobs that are being created. And while we've also got the blue ones in the middle, and these are jobs that are going to survive. Now, where are we getting this data from? Like I mentioned, we're going to go deep into the World Economic Forum report. So this data is from the World Economic Forum Future of Jobs Survey that was carried out in 2024, analyzing over 1.2 billion jobs globally. So here is what this means in very practical terms. If you're in a traditional role right now, which means you're in banking, you're an administrative assistant, you're in basic accounting, or you're a customer service rep, you're already sitting in this blue section. Your job category is literally disappearing. Now, I don't know how many of us are keeping up with the news, but I was having a conversation with someone recently. We're talking about the AI revolution. And it's insane what AI can do today. Have you seen the bots that Tesla is building? It's amazing the kind of innovations that are coming out, ever since ChatGPT launched and, kick-started the AI race. And now we've got everyone competing to be the first dominant global company in the AI market. Now we're seeing innovations that are just shaking up the job world. We've got people who are literally losing their jobs. A few days ago, I was exploring a new product. Many of us might be familiar with Intercom. Intercom is not a new product. But they have this feature. It's called Fin. And Fin is an AI model for those of us who are familiar with ChatGPT or Claude and the rest of them. So you can send messages to Fin, you can chat with Fin, and Fin knows everything about the company. Now, some of these companies have even taken it a step further. And when you call, you speak to an AI model. So it's insane the amount of change that is happening in the job world. So if you are sitting in this section, for roles like basic accounting, AI models are very good at that, especially when it's basic. For roles that can be easily automated, customer service rep, all I need to do is to know about the company, to know details about that. The one thing that AI can't do yet is understand human wants, but trust me, it's getting there. And that's why you see all of these jobs getting destroyed. However, if you position yourself in the green section, and what that is it means data analysis, it means cybersecurity, it means business intelligence, agile project management. You're not just securing your future today, you're positioning yourself for the biggest wealth transfer in human history. And I'm going to say this again, you're positioning yourself for the biggest wealth transfer in human history. People said this back then when about Bitcoin, right? They were like, "Oh, buy Bitcoin," especially when it was very cheap. In fact, I was one of the people who missed that movement. People said the same thing about digital marketing, and now we're saying the same thing about these roles in tech. If you start today and you position yourself in this market, then you are set to take advantage of all of the unique opportunities that is offered in this green category. Now, let me put this into perspective for you. 92 million jobs are disappearing. This means 92 million people are scrambling for new opportunities. However, 170 million jobs being created also means unprecedented opportunity for those who prepare now, for those who prepare today. So the question isn't whether or not this will happen. It's already happening. I'm sure we're already seeing news of the mass layoffs that's happening around the world, and people are very uncertain about what the future looks like for them. It's already happening. So the question is, will you be one of those people who is displaced, or will you be one of those people who is positioned? And again, this is exactly why we focus on 8 career paths I just showed you. Every single one of them falls into this green section, jobs being created, not destroyed. So when we train you as a data analyst or we train you as a cybersecurity specialist, we're not just teaching you skills. What we're teaching you is how to position yourself in the growth sector of the global economy. Okay, Now I'm going to need everyone to understand something very crucial before we go further. I want to show you the career paths that are in demand. And there's something that happens a lot when it comes to tech. You see one, especially, and you keep this in mind when you're looking for jobs. You see one title like data engineering, for example, and it's got subsets under it. Here you can see on my screen, I've got big data specialists, I've got data warehousing specialists, I've got data engineers. All of this are all stemming from data engineers. So what I'm going to walk you through now is an entire ecosystem of opportunity that most people completely miss. However, before I walk you through this ecosystem, I just want to be sure that you are still with me and that you want to be a part of this conversation. You want to see exactly how one of these skill sets can open up to 3, 5, 10 different career doors. Please type in ecosystem in the chat so I know that you are still with me and you're following this conversation. Please type ecosystem in the chat if you are ready to see all the opportunities that this opens up for you. Fantastic, fantastic ecosystem, fantastic Grace, Matilda, Aderonke, ecosystem, Diana, Olivia, iPhone, you are very, very engaged. I love that. Owolabi, Elizabeth. Okay, fantastic. Everyone is here, everyone is present. So let's get into it. We're going to start with data engineering. And this is currently the world's #1 fastest growing profession globally. And this is according to the World Economic Forum. So I want to put this into, let me break this down for those of us who are not technical on the call. Because my goal here is not for you to just hear these titles. I want you to understand it. So if it's something that appeals to you, who knows, maybe you might just have that moment where you just click with it. So imagine your house has water coming from 20 different pipes. Some are clean, some are dirty, so some is hot, some is cold. And it's all just, it's mixed up, it's messy. You go into this room, you turn it on, the water is dirty. You go into the other room, you turn it on, for some reason it's coming out hot. You have no idea what is going on, so you can't use any of this, because it's just complete chaos. Now think of a data engineer, like a master plumber who comes in and connects all the pipes properly. A data engineer is going to clean the dirty water, is going to organize everything so you have what is clean, usable, what is clean and usable whenever you turn on your tap. But the thing with data engineers is that instead of them, being plumbers and dealing with water, they are organizing information for companies. So every business today gets information from everywhere. I'm talking customer purchases, I'm talking website clicks, social media comments, app usage, etc. All of this is all mixed up and completely useless in its raw form. A data engineer is someone who builds the digital plumbing that takes this messy information and makes it clean and organized so that companies can actually use it to make smart decisions. Now let's talk about big data specialists. What are big data specialists and what do they do? A big data specialist, just a minute. The screen is doing this thing again. Okay. A big data specialist is someone who works with companies that have massive amounts of information. So I'm talking Netflix, I'm talking Amazon, for example. These are all companies that process millions of information daily. Netflix, for example, is tracking what 200 million people watch every second. That's a lot of data. No human can process anything that fast. So that's where big data specialists come in. They build strong, super strong digital pipes that can handle enormous amounts of information, all of this without breaking. Now, looking at data warehousing specialists, they build what we call digital storage rooms where companies can keep all of their important information. They can keep it organized and safe. So think about it like a library, but it's for business data. Now let's talk about, just a minute, please. I'm going to stop sharing my screen again, and I'm going to share it again. I'm not sure what is happening, but let's hope that doesn't happen again. Please give me a minute. Okay. I think we should be good now. Fantastic. Okay. Now let's talk about data analyst and data scientist. And I really like this category. I call them the detective work, or the detectives, the ones who do the detective kind of work. Now, the information that we've taken care of when we spoke about the data engineering and their subsets, all of that information has now been cleaned, it's now been organized. Now we do need someone who's going to take a look at all of this data that we've been churning out and figure out what it all means. So data analysts, they are like the detectives for businesses. They look at all of the company's information and they answer important questions. Important questions like, why do we have fewer people buying our products this month? Which one of our stores is making more money? What time of the day do customers visit our website? So all of this is information that companies use to make important and critical decisions that impact their bottom line. And this is where people like data analysts come in. They use special tools to find patterns and help the company make better decisions. So it's kind of like how a detective uses clues to solve a case. And now you can think of how critical is it for companies to have data analysts, especially when you're processing so much data that a data analyst can come in and tell you, this is what is wrong. This is what you need to fix. Now let's look at data scientists. I would say that data scientists, they also do detective work as well, because it kind of predicts the future. They look at past information and build smart guessing systems that help companies know what might happen next. So there's this story that went viral a couple of years ago, but it was about how a girl, a teenager, was shopping online, and because of her shopping patterns, the company figured out, oh, let's send her coupons for her to get baby clothes and baby food and all of that, and that was how her father found out that she was pregnant. And why did this happen? It happened because there was a system, an algorithm that was analyzing everything that she was searching for. Now, let me use an example that we all might be familiar with, the algorithm on Instagram. You know how the algorithm of Instagram, it's almost like it knows what you're looking for before you even look, based off the accounts that you have engaged with, based off the comments that you have left. Somehow it is designed to keep you glued to your screen because it keeps on feeding you the kind of content that you want, the kind of content that you're familiar with. Hold data scientists accountable. So they are the ones who help companies answer things like, which customers might stop buying from us in the future? What new product should we create? How much should we charge so we can make the most money? Now, under this, we also have AI and machine learning specialists. And what they do is they build what I would call smart computer brains. So, like the system that knows what movie you might like on Netflix, like the algorithm I just spoke about, or the voice assistants that understands when you talk to your phone, when you say, hey Siri. So these are AI and machine learning specialists. I know, right? This is super awesome. Who wouldn't want to be a part of this? Now let's look at the next one, which is cybersecurity analyst. Now I would call a cybersecurity analyst a digital security guard. So to break this down for you so you really understand it, imagine your house, but instead of you being worried about burglars, instead of you having to protect against invisible thieves who might steal things um, through your internet connection, instead of you having to worry about burglars, it's just you worrying about, oh, thieves who might come on the internet and who might steal the things that you've protected. I'm sure we've all watched things like Fast and Furious, or we watched Thriller and all of that, and you've seen those people who hack into systems and they just go, I'm in. So people like that are those that cybersecurity analysts are designed or trained to keep out of your systems. So what they do is that they watch out for bad people who are trying to break into your computer systems. They build strong digital locks that help keep your information safe. They also fix problems when something goes wrong. They make sure things like a customer's information, like a credit card number, stays private. So all of those apps that you use where you impute your card, like Netflix, for example, like Amazon, and you input your card, the only reason why your details has not been leaked yet is thanks to cybersecurity analysts. Now, we also have subsets in this, like information security analysts who focus on protecting what I would call the most important secrets. For example, like a company's customer list or secret recipes. But this is just a subset that is focused on protecting something specific. We also have Internet of Things specialists, and what they do is they protect all the smart things that's connected to the internet. For example, your smartwatch, your TV, your smart TV, and even your smart fridge as well. That is what they focus on to help you build the systems that safeguard those. And this is the most beautiful part about cybersecurity specialists. And this also includes security management specialists as well. This career role values diverse backgrounds. So if you come from compliance, if you come from risk management, if you come from operations or even customer service, your understanding of human behavior and business processes would make you incredibly valuable in this career path. Now, moving on, let's talk about business analysts. And I'm going to call the business analysts the problem fixers. So business analysts are like the super organized problem solvers for companies. So let me give you an example. Imagine a restaurant where orders get lost between the kitchen and waiters. So you come in and you say, oh, I'd like to have pizza. And then, the soup is sitting on your table and you're wondering, I didn't order chicken soup. I said I wanted pizza. What's going on here? Or, you have to wait 45 minutes before you get your food, or the cash register doesn't talk to the kitchen computer, for example. Everyone is getting frustrated. Everyone is losing money because of how inefficient this entire process is. A business analyst would come in, like a detective, is going to watch how everything unfolds, how the problem currently works. Then the business analyst is going to find all the problems and all the mess ups. Then the business analyst is going to design a better way to do things. The end goal for the business analyst is to help everyone work together smoothly. And that's why I find the business analyst position to be very fascinating, especially if you're someone who loves to build new systems, someone who loves to solve problems. For example, your friend comes to you and says, I've got a problem. And instead of you to just sit down and listen, you're already trying to solve the problem. So maybe you should just become a business analyst so you can get paid for your problem solving skills, eh? Now, after business analysts are done, orders don't get lost. We're still following our restaurant example. Customers are going to get their food quickly. All the computer system is going to be working perfectly. Everyone is now happier because a business analyst came in and revamped the entire business. So just because I use the restaurant example does not mean that business analysts are limited or restricted to just that. A business analyst can take any business model and break it down and fix it. I'm talking hospitals, banks, stores, schools. They're basically professional mess fixers who make everything run better. Now that we've spoken about data analysts, we've spoken about data engineers as well. And then, like I mentioned before, one of the most fantastic things about this is how you can see all of these subsets that pop up under them. For data analysts, we've got business intelligence analysts. For data engineers, we've got database architects. It's one role, it's one title, it's one umbrella, but then under it, it's got so many subsets, but they are all saying the same thing, or they are all focused on one thing. Now, for agile project managers, for example, your agile project managers, you think of them as really good team captains who help people, groups of people, complete big, complicated projects without things getting messy along the way. So let's use an example of building houses. Now, the old way was you would plan everything from day one. You would hope nothing goes wrong in 6 months. But then the question is, what happens if it rains, or if you run out of materials, if the family that you're maybe building this house for, what if they change their mind halfway about the kitchen? What happens then? So an agile project manager, the way they would approach this problem is they would say, let's build this house in small pieces over 2 weeks, over 2 weeks of a 2 weeks period. Now I'm explaining how agile project managers and scrum masters work. They will say, let's check in with the family every 2 weeks, which is stakeholder management, to make sure that we're building exactly what they want. They would say something like, if something goes wrong, we're going to fix it quickly instead of waiting until the end. And that's what really sets an agile projects manager apart in the market. And like I mentioned before, these roles, these titles, they are not isolated. They're interconnected ecosystems. If you master data analytics, you can literally pivot to business intelligence, you can pivot to financial analysis, or even marketing analytics. If you learn cybersecurity fundamentals, you can specialize in cloud security, you can specialize in compliance, or in risk management. And again, the window is closing. Right now, companies are desperate. They're desperately looking for these skills. There's this company, it's a consultancy company, and they're doing very, very well in the markets right now. They've been recruiting for business analysts, and they're offering 150K. They've been recruiting for this role for the last 1 year. And when you read their job description, what they say all the time is, it doesn't matter if you, it doesn't matter where you are. All that matters is that you have the skills that it takes for you to win in this market. Because now, thanks to all of the innovations that's coming up, like AI and how things are moving in the market, there's this huge shift, and people are looking out for, we need to get business analysts. Now, I'm saying this because all of these roles that you see listed here, they are in high demand, and the best time for you to get into it is now. For example, that kind of listing, you're not going to see it in the next 2, 3 years, probably. Maybe the person has found all the good people that they want and they've locked it down. Or maybe the market has shifted somewhere else and a new skill set is required. And that's why I say the best time for you to get into it is right now, when companies are desperate for these skills, when they're willing to train the right people. In the next 18 months, when millions of displaced workers realize that they need these skills, the competition is going to be brutal. We went through the World Economic Forum, and now we're looking at 92 million jobs that are going to be destroyed. Where do you think those people are going to turn to? They're going to want to see what exactly is making their jobs obsolete, and they're going to be hopping on this train. But if you start today, it means that you have already built the foundation that is required for you to be a winner in this market. So when the rest of them are now coming in, you've already become a boss in this. You're already a manager. You've already built a very strong portfolio. You have been able to save up a bunch of money because you bought in early. So now that we've talked about all of these roles, we've talked about their subsets, the question is, just how much are people earning for this stuff? And I'm going to say that roughly depends on your location and the location of the company that you are working with. Now let's look at different roles. What we've done is that we've mapped out the earnings, the average earnings in the UK, in Canada, in USA. And keep in mind that this is the average earning for a lot of people. Like, we've had people who have worked coming through our doors, they knew nothing about tech. And because they were just that good at reading patterns, they were just that good at recognizing, oh, this stuff should be here. I think that, this is how this one should work. They were able to skip past the level of internship, and they went straight into management roles. I've seen this happen a couple of times, and I think it's just incredibly amazing what people can do when they apply themselves. And these people are great examples of that. So for business analysis, we're looking at starting roles with like 52,000 in the UK, it's 52 pounds in the UK. In Canada, we're looking at 74,000. In the USA, we're looking at 85,000. And keep in mind that all of this are average, the average salaries for these roles. Like I said before, you could do this and you could be earning 120. You could be earning 80 with full visa sponsorship, by the way. You could be earning 150. It really just depends on you. And before I go on, this is where I'm just going to quickly talk about the LPA again. This is why it's very important that after you learn, you package yourself, because how you package yourself is how the market is going to receive you. For data analytics, we're looking at £47 in the UK. In Canada, we're looking at 64,000. In the US, we're looking at 72,000. For data science, we're looking at £55,000. In the UK, in Canada, we're looking at $94,000. In USA, we're looking at $121,000. For data engineering roles, in UK, we're looking at £65. In Canada, we're looking at $102,000. In USA, we're looking at 134,000. For agile project managers and scrum masters in the UK, we're looking at 53,000. In Canada, we're looking at 94,000. In the USA, we're looking at 120,000. I'm sure this stuff is happening again. Just give me a minute. I can't share my screen. Let's see. I'm just going to quickly stop sharing, and then I'm going to share my screen again. Give me a minute, please. I think we should be good now. Okay. Right. Now for HR analytics, we're looking at 43,000. For Canada, we're looking at 71,000. In the USA, we're looking at 62,000. For financial analytics, in the UK, we're looking at 51,000. In Canada, we're looking at 69,000. In the US, we're looking at 74,000. For cybersecurity, we're looking at 57,000 in the UK, and in Canada, we're looking at 140,000. In the US, we're looking at 105,000. So again, I want you to take a look at all of these numbers. What we're looking at here are just the average salaries for these roles. Now, depending on how you package yourself here, depending on how you position yourself in the market, how you sell yourself in the market, you have the capacity to earn way, way above this. This is entirely dependent on you and your ability to sell yourself. Now that we've looked at all of these interesting roles, we've talked about what these roles are, and I hope that we all have some level of understanding here about even the technical roles as well. And we've also looked at how much these roles are earning. Now we've come to a very important question here. What tech career suits your personality? And this is especially for people who you're new to the system, you've never heard about tech before, you've heard about tech before, you've never, this is your first time really getting into a conversation about tech. How exactly are you supposed to know what is the best career path for you to take? And this question is exactly why we created something that most training companies never bother with. We call it the career personality quiz. Now, this isn't some random quiz that you find on Facebook. It's a strategic 3-minute assessment that we have built working alongside our course leads and our career coaches who have placed over 3,000 people into tech roles. And it solves one of the most critical problems, which is matching your natural personality to the career path where you not just succeed, but actually enjoy the work that you do. So you have two options. You can either scan the QR code here for you to, and it takes you directly to the quiz, or we can just follow the quiz link. Let me just do that here so we can see what it looks like. Okay. My colleagues are going to be dropping the quiz link in the chat section. What I would like us to do is to take this quiz. Okay, fantastic. Thank you very much, Finn, for dropping the quiz link. I would like everyone to just take out some time and go through this quiz so you can see what what career path is best suited to your personality. And this is important because aside from you getting a job, which of course is the ROI that we are looking at, getting a high paying job, you also want to be happy with what you're doing. You want to be in a job that you can talk about for hours. For example, if you ask me anything in regards to business processes and optimization, if you ask me anything in regards to operations, I could sit down and talk about that for hours because I genuinely enjoy optimizing processes and it's literally wired into my DNA. So if it aligns with your personality, you will never get bored of you would never get bored of what it is that you do. And that is the main difference between forcing yourself into a role versus finding your natural fit, which again is why we created the tech career quiz. Now, I would love everyone on this call to just take a couple of minutes and I'm going to do it with you. So do it with me, guys. Let's fill out this quiz. I would like you to be as honest as possible with yourself because that is the only way the system is going to give you an accurate answer. Now, keep in mind, not everyone gets an answer. For some people, the system detects that you're not sure of what path you're going to go with. And, maybe your personality is giving, I want to do something technical, I want to do something visible, but I also want to do something hidden. In that case, the system would recommend that you speak to one of our professionals who can have a conversation, a one-on-one with you to find out where and what exactly your strengths are. But let's get it started by taking the tech quiz and seeing what aligns with our personality. So are we ready? Because we're doing this together. Okay, so let's go. You put in your first name. I'm putting in my first name here. I'm putting in my last name here. I'm putting in a random number here. I'm gonna put in my email address here as well. And then it takes me to the next stage. Now, the first question is, how do you feel in group settings or team discussions? Now, for someone like me, I would say I'm selective. I like people, but I also need balance. What best describes your current or most recent job? So if you've been a caregiver, if you're a teacher, IT support, if you're just looking for something now, whatever it is, so you can put that in here. So for me, I'm going to go with marketing, sales, or operations. Which of these sounds most like you? So do you like to solve problems with people? Do you like to organize teams? Do you enjoy protecting systems and finding vulnerabilities? Are you a fixer? Do you want a job that pays well, even though it's hard? So this is, you're not sure what you want to do. Or do you like creating processes or workflows? So you're someone like me and you really enjoy creating processes and workflows and seeing how people interact with them. Or do you just enjoy working with data and finding patterns? So you're not really a people person. You would rather just be in the back end and just work with data because, well, data doesn't lie. Okay, so I'm going to go with I like creating processes or workflows. How comfortable are you with tools like Excel, Google Sheets, or numbers in general? So if you've never used Excel, naturally you would go with I want to avoid numbers if I can. If it's something that you're very comfortable with, you can select this. If you prefer dashboards and visual tools that summarize the data for you so you don't have to do all of the hard work of imputing the numbers, you can go with this. You only use it when necessary, you go with this. So I would go with I somehow comfortable. I can navigate basic formulas for the purpose of this test. So what's your take on coding? Now, this is a very important question because now we have different tech pathways, of course, and this can help narrow it down. So you have to be very honest with yourself here. Are you curious about coding, but you're not sure if you're going to enjoy it? Are you okay with some light scripting, or no code tools? Do you enjoy logic puzzles, or do you just want to manage tech teams and you're thinking, what's all this? I did not sign up for this. So you can go with that. I want to manage tech teams, not code. Or if you like no code tools, you can just select that. Now, what kind of work environment do you prefer? I'm going to go with strategy and decision-making roles. Again, please and please just be as honest with yourself as possible. It's the only way this is going to give you the best results. Now, what is most important to you right now? You can select as many of this as you want, and then you move on to the next stage. This is what now we're already getting to the end. So bear with me. What kind of impact do you want to make? Do you want to lead organizational change and transform business operations? Do you want to drive data insight? Do you want to optimize financial performance? Do you want to protect information systems? Or whatever impact looks like to you here, please select it. And even though it's not exactly what impact looks like to you, pick the closest one, as that can help us narrow down the choices that you have. I'm going to go with leading organization change. Now, what course sounds the most appealing to you? Now, remember that we have walked through all of the options that are available to us. We have walked through these courses, we've walked through what they're about, we've walked through what they pay in the market. So which one at the moment sounds most appealing to you? So you can pick as many of them as you want. If you're confused, maybe when I spoke about business analysis, that really clicked for you. Maybe HR analytics also clicks for you as well because you really love to manage people and business processes, full stack data scientist, whatever that looks like, just pick all of the options that sounds appealing to you. And then this is your final step. We're going to click here so that we can get our result. Now, do you remember when I said at the beginning that I genuinely enjoy building business processes? So you can see here that the results that I got is aligned with my personality, which is business analysis, the strategist. Now we've all seen my result, but I'm curious, I want to see what you're getting. So if you've completed the quiz, please drop your result in the chat section. Let's see what we're getting. Do we have cybersecurity specialists in the house? Do we have people who are more in line with financial analytics, with HR analytics? So just drop your results in the chat section for us. You can say cybersecurity, the Guardian, you can say the strategist, business analysis. So whatever that looks like for you. Okay. Cybersecurity, interesting, promise, business analyst, Somi, cybersecurity, okay, Chidima, business analysis, Yolande, business analyst, interesting. So keep it coming, guys, keep it coming. The Guardian, cybersecurity, Dio, interesting. We've got Abisola, the business analysis. Okay, interesting, fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so let's do something else now. Do you feel like this gave you the results that aligns with your personality? If yes, you can send in yes into the chat section. If no, you can send in no into the chat section. Okay, I can see Priscilla said already into business analysis. Fantastic. Okay, and I'm sure you probably got that result. Okay, I've seen 3 yes right now. Interesting. I'm seeing another yes. Fantastic, fantastic. So this is proof that what we have built is working the way it's supposed to work. That makes me very excited. Okay, so now that we have taken this quiz, and for most of us here, you can see that this is aligned with what you are looking at. Now we have reached a very important decision point, a critical decision point, which is what is the next step for me? Now I found a career path that is a perfect fit for me, but what am I going to do next? Now, let's talk about the class schedules, because at this point, your next step, of course, would be for you to kickstart the first process in the LPA system, which is for you to learn. Now, how exactly does Tenalytics take you from where you are right now to where you need to be? I'm going to start with a question. How many online courses have you started, but you never finished? If you've done this, if maybe you've gone on Coursera, maybe you've gone on Udemy, and you've started courses that you never finished, I want you to type in guilty in the chat box. Let's see all of the online course criminals that we have here today. Guilty, interesting. Yolande, guilty. Priscilla, guilty. Okay, let's keep it coming. Guilty, interesting. Guilty. So do you see what this is part of? This is a huge problem in the market. And now we're seeing a lot of guilty response. I can see them flooding in. And this is what happens when you have people who say, oh, I want to learn a course, and you just go on Coursera, you go on Udemy, and you just sign up. And it's part of why I said in the beginning that in as much as these platforms are solving a problem, they're passive. So most online programs fall into what I would call two broken categories. The first one is the Netflix model. Now, this is where you get hundreds and hundreds of videos that are dumped on you with zero accountability. You're supposed to magically stay motivated for months while you're watching alone in your bedroom, or while you're listening to the audio on your way to your job that you hate, by the way. So how exactly are you supposed to keep that motivation up? The second one is they follow the college lecture model. Now, this is where everything happens live at specific times. So in this kind of case, you say, oh, you've got classes at 8 p.m. If you miss a class because of work or family, well, it's too bad, you're behind forever. Now, after almost 5 years and 3,000 successful graduates, we've discovered something very critical at Tenalytics, that neither approach works consistently. So we decided to build something better. What we did is we're using a blended learning system that gives you the best of both worlds while eliminating the weaknesses of each. Now, the first one is what you can see on my screen here, which is the self-paced learning materials, which is learning at our LMS, at your convenience, anytime, anywhere. Now, the advantage of this is that you get on-demand video lessons that you can access anytime, anywhere. And this is not just a watch and hope for the best content. All of this, they're structured, they're progressive lessons that are designed to build your core knowledge systematically. As a matter of fact, one of the feedback that we get a lot when it comes to our courses is some people say, oh, I just enjoy this video so much. Can I get more? Because when I watch these videos, it really breaks down the concepts for me. So now part of the advantages include you get to rewatch all of these complex videos as many times as you want. You can learn at 2 a.m. if that's what works for your schedule. You can move faster through topics, because you're able to grasp them if you grasp things quickly, that is. And then if you do not, you can actually spend extra time on areas that challenge you. For a lot of people, they don't feel comfortable when it comes to speaking up when they're in crowded places, or when there are lots of other people who are also learning with them, or maybe just being vulnerable in general and saying, I'm not sure how to do this, can you help me? So for people like that, this is perfect for building your technical foundation without the pressure of keeping up with a live class. Now, second, we also have the live expert-led sessions. So this is where we have instructors who come into the class, and then you get to learn with those instructors. You get to ask them questions. So these are weekly or bi-weekly real-time sessions with instructors who've been sitting exactly where you are right now, maybe asking the same questions that you're asking. Maybe they did that earlier in their career, maybe later in your career. But the key thing is that they've been sitting exactly where you are right now, and they are ready to help mentor you and provide you with all of the resources that you need to start today. The value here is 100% irreplaceable, because you get to work through actual challenges together in real time with your instructor. You get instant feedback on your project and on your approach. You get to ask questions when you're feeling stuck, or maybe you need immediate guidance. You also get to build relationships, and this is critical. You get to build relationships with peers who become your professional network. I don't know if I mentioned this in the beginning, but one of the beauty of Tenalytics is the power of community and how we bring everybody together. I think that's one of the beauty of it. So you're not just isolated and working on something on your own. You've now got people who are in the same boat as you, people who are trying to figure things out the same way you're trying to figure things out. And you guys can actually hold each other's hand and support each other through this process. And what we've done is that we've broken down this community into little bits so that if you feel intimidated in a group of 20, if you feel intimidated in a group of 50, you can certainly speak up in a group of 5. That's exactly what we've done, because again, what we're trying to build, what we're trying to drive is the spirit of community. Now, the magic of this system is in the combination. Self-paced learning, it gives you depth, it gives you foundation, and live sessions gives you sharpness, it gives you community, and it gives you momentum. And here's what this means in practical terms. It means that you never fall behind when your foundation is always available. But you also never fall off, because live sessions create accountability and connection. So by the time you complete our program, you're not wondering, did I even finish the course? You know, just like all of these courses that you took on these online platforms that you never finished, you can confidently say, I'm ready to get hired. Now, this hybrid approach, I'm going to credit this to exactly why our job placement rate is at roughly 95%, because students get the flexibility they need to actually complete the program, including the support and accountability that ensures they master the skills that employers demand. So if this is something that really resonated with you and you are ready to grab it with both hands, I want you to type in the comment section, flexible works. Type in the comment in the chat section, flexible works, if you see the value of this blended approach. Flexible works, fantastic, Grace. Okay. Yolande, flexible works. I'm seeing names that I've seen before, and I like how engaged everybody is. Okay, Matilda, flexible works. Opayemi, flexible works. Fantastic, fantastic. Diana, flexible works. Godfrey, iPhone. I'm really loving the energy in this room. Priscilla, you're bringing the energy. Fantastic. I love how everyone is very engaged and how we see the value of this. Okay, so now moving on, we've spoken about the approach that we use in our classroom. Now let's move on to the next stage. Remember that we are on the LPA, which is the learn, the package, and the apply. We've broken down exactly how you're going to learn. Now let's talk about the packaging aspect of it. Once you have gotten the skills, it is another thing entirely for you to position yourself in the market and for you to say, I am ready to look for a job. I was speaking to someone recently who was telling me, you know, I want to, he's actually very good at what he does. And he said, oh, you know, he's looking for a job now. He's applying for jobs in the UK because he's looking to relocate. And I said, well, that's cool. You can send me your resume draft so I can actually help you out, you know, with a template, and you can just use that and plug it in for all the jobs you're applying to. And he told me, he's like, wait, why do I have to do that? First of all, why do I have to use a different templates for each of them? And I was surprised because I thought, and you know, he also told me that he had been looking for a job for about 6 months and he wasn't getting anything. That was my first clue as to, oh my goodness, we're not very serious in this market. And then when he sent over his resume to me and I looked at it, first thing is, there was no LinkedIn on it. There was literally no link where I could click on and say, this is what this person does. This is his portfolio. This is his shop where he markets everything that he does. There was absolutely nothing. So I want you to keep in mind right now what I'm about to tell you. What I'm about to tell you is going to either set you free in a good way or it's going to make you angry. Because I remember when I had this conversation with him, he was very upset and he said, you know what, why would they require him to change this and change that? Why does he have to build a portfolio? He doesn't like to be seen. He doesn't like blah, 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 blah. But then I said, you're not ready to step out of the shadows and step into the light where your true potential is. I need us to lock in one mindset shift today. That mindset shift is what separates us from people who get stuck forever, is what separates you from the people in the market who are going to be exactly in the same place, in the same exact place when you check back in 2 years. That mindset shift is competence over credentials. Lock that in. Competence over credentials. And I'm saying this because for a lot of people, you think that having a fantastic university degree or having a fantastic resume, and you say, oh, you know, I've worked in this company where you've got, when I say fantastic resume, I mean in terms of the big names that you've got on your resume. And you say, I've worked in this company, I've worked in Google, I've worked in Amazon. Nobody cares about that. Here's what most people, especially brilliant minds from Africa, and I'm speaking Nigeria, Kenya, Ghana, South Africa, where they completely sabotage themselves when they relocate to a different country. Somehow they think they need another degree. And we've seen this constantly over and over again. We've had people who come to us. I can see you raising a hand, Emmanuel. I will take questions after the end of this session, and I'll be wrapping up very soon. Okay, so just give me a couple of minutes and then I'll take your questions. So now here's what most people, very smart people actually, here's where they make a lot of mistakes. They think if I get a different degree in this new country that I have relocated to, then everyone will see how amazing I am. Everyone will see that I've got the skills to set myself apart in the market. If I can get another certificate, another credential from a prestigious Western university, they tell themselves things like, if I had that Harvard certificate, you know, maybe they take me seriously. If I had that UK qualification, maybe they would see my value. Wrong, dead wrong, and very expensive. So let me tell you what hiring managers and recruiters are actually looking for when they're feeling that 80,000, 120K, 150K remote position. They're looking for what I would compile into three things. The first is, can you solve the problem sitting in front of them right now? That is competence. It's not about what you write in your resume. Hey, I revamped the entire flow. I was able to bring in 15%. Da, 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 da. Nobody cares. Can you solve the problem right now? Can you hit the ground running from day one? That is question two. Can you prove your value in the first 90 days? This is what most recruiters are asking themselves when they're looking at talent before they place these talent in these positions. And that is not credential, that is 100% competence. And in 2025, competence doesn't just beat credentials, it completely destroys it. So let me give you proof of this. McKinsey, it's one of the most prestigious consulting firms in the world. When they're hiring business analysts, well, you know, your degree might get you into the door, but that's not what keeps you there. That's not what gets you the job offer. So what they do is they put candidates in a room and then they present them with, you know, real business problems. This is one of the way they filter out their talents, by the way. And they say, solve this right now in front of us. This company is losing money. These are its revenue channels. These are the audience that it has. It has Gen Z audience. It also has a boomer audience. You know, this is 25%. This is 47%. These are the revenue channels. And this is how much the company made in a year, you know, and this is how much the company lost. The company is in red right now. I want you to solve where that leakage is coming from. Ask yourself this question. When you are presented, when you're in that kind of situation, can you break down the problem? Can you structure your thinking? Can you present a solution that makes sense? Can you hold your own in that pressure cooker environment? That's what gets you hired, not the name on your diploma. And lots of people would crack under that kind of pressure because, again, let's go back to learn. This is why learn is very critical. When you learn, you have the foundation. And then when you now come into your package era, you now have competence over your credentials. So it is very important that you lock in that shift, that your competence matters over your credentials. This is the mindset shift that completely changes everything for you. So while you've got other people who are spending 2-3 years and $10,000 chasing certificates, you're spending 90 days building demonstrable competence that employers cannot ignore. And that is part of what we give you in Tenalytics. I'm going to show you exactly how we give you that experience, that competence that recruiters cannot ignore. But if you are with me and if you are charged up to show your level of competence, I want you to type in the chat box, competence first. Type in the chat box, competence first, if you are fired up for the next stage. Competence first. Okay, let's drop in. Okay, fantastic. Matilda, Yolande, iPhone, Godfrey. I see you, Zainab, competence first. Amazing, amazing. I can see that we are all engaged. Fantastic, fantastic. Your competence is what sells you in the market. Your competence is the game changer for you. Now, this is a post that I'm sure we all know Elon. This is a post that Elon made where he said he's looking for a hardcore software engineer who can build everything up. And he doesn't care where the person went to school. He doesn't care what big name, the person worked at. Just show us your code. So we used to call this back then, we used to call it show us your workings. How did you get this equation? Show us your workings and how you got this result. This is what moves in the market right now. The era of your certificates and all of that being the number one thing people look at. What school did you go to? Nobody cares about that anymore. What people now want to see is, what are your skills? What are your experience? If I bring you into this company, can you make money for me? That is the most important question that companies are trying to answer. And if you build your competence to this level, then you can be one of the people who are taking advantage of this shift. Now, I want to tell you about someone whose situation might mirror exactly where you are right now. Her name is Hope. Now, pay close attention to this story because Hope's breakthrough might be the exact roadmap that you need. Now, Hope wasn't starting from zero like many of our students. She actually already had project management certifications. She has Scrum Master credentials, and on LinkedIn, her profile actually looks very impressive. And on paper, Hope was actually qualified for many of these roles. But here's what happened in her real life. She was living in Canada and she was applying to job after job. And all she was hearing at the end of the day were just crickets. Nobody was responding. Radio silence, complete rejection. And it was automated rejection emails for people who are serial job appliers here. I'm sure you've opened up and you've seen all that. Unfortunately, we regret to inform you. Yes, those kind of emails. That's what Hope was getting. The credential strategy that everyone told her was going to work, it was failing spectacularly. Now, this is what Hope eventually discovered, and it's very crucial for everyone who is watching today, everyone who is listening today. Hope discovered that having certifications and actually being able to do the job, or being job ready rather, were entirely different things. Employers were not rejecting Hope because she lacked the knowledge. They were passing on her because she couldn't prove that she could execute under real world pressure, which again is what the package question actually answers. Can you execute under pressure? People want to see what you have done. You can tell me about it, but I do want to see that you can actually do this. So Hope had theoretical knowledge, but she had zero demonstrable competence. She could talk about agile methodologies from today until tomorrow, but then she couldn't show evidence of successfully managing actual projects through managing these projects completely and bringing them to completion, and then the success rate at the end. She had no data on this. So in September 2024, Hope made a decision that completely changed everything for her. She decided that instead of collecting more certificates, she was going to join our Agile Projects Management Program. Now, when Hope joins this was where everything changed. Now, we did not just teach Hope about project management. I mean, she already knew most of these things. What we did was that we put her through the exact scenarios that she was going to face in her first 90 days on the job. She worked on live projects. She managed actual stakeholders. She was solving genuine business problems. She was building systems that companies could immediately put to use. And all of this was what she put on her portfolio to demonstrate to recruiters that, hey, I've got the skills, I know how to do the job, and this is exactly what I've done. Now, December 2024, this was barely, and this is very amazing because, we have people who come in and they spend like maybe 6 months. Some people spend 8 months, 9 months before they get a job. Some actually like deal in like 1 month, 2 months. I would say those are really amazing people who have applied themselves and they know this is exactly what I want to get out of it. So barely 3 months into starting, Hope landed a project analyst position. And it wasn't just, any job. It was a role where her new employer immediately recognized her ability to deliver results. So what changed for Hope exactly? It was demonstrating that she was capable of everything that she already knew that she could do, but she just needed to demonstrate it. So Hope's story is proof of something very critical, that the gap between certified and hired is literally just execution evidence. Employers don't want to gamble on, can he do the job? Can she do the job? They want proof that you've already done the work similar to what they need. So I'm going to let you hear this from the horse's mouth. Just for a few minutes, I want you to hear what Hope had to say about joining the Tenalytics program.
Look, what's going on over there?
I'm doing the work. I'm doing everything.
It helped me land my first project management job in Canada, and I'm really grateful for it. Of course, it's a six-figure job, and that they had a great impact in me landing that job. Hello, my name is Hope Atogi. I am an alumni of Tenalytics. I joined the 2024 September cohort class for Agile Project Management. Prior to joining this cohort, I had a certificate in project management and I had written the PMP and I'd also written the Scrum Master certification, which I passed both, but I still needed to land a project management role in Canada. Prior to when I moved to Canada, I had an experience with managing projects and handling agile projects in Nigeria. But moving to Canada, I hadn't gathered enough experience in the project space, so I needed to break into that space. Tenalytics was recommended to me and I tried it. I had a focus on what I wanted and they helped me achieve that. I joined the class, it was very interactive, it was very educative. I increased what I knew prior to joining the class and I learned new things as well. I would definitely recommend Tenalytics to anyone who is looking to break into a new field or change career path. I think Tenalytics is where you should be. You should register with them. They would help you with your post-registration, ongoing classes, getting a job, interview processes and all that. While on the project.
So now we have heard from Hope herself on her journey towards securing a job that changed her life. So now you could be the next Hope. There's someone on this call today, or a couple of people on this call today, and your story can turn out just like Hope's story turned out, with you getting to do that dream job or getting that dream job with that dream pay that you've always wanted. And trust me, if you consistently apply yourself, and when I say consistently apply yourself, I also want to add immediately get started today. You can get the same results that Hope got, and maybe even faster than she did. So now let's talk about package in details, right? What exactly are you getting out of this? If you learn with Tenalytics, what kind of packaging do you get that positions you in the market for success? Now, one of the first things is we help you build a portfolio. Now, a portfolio is very important because how exactly do you want to show people that, hey, I've done this, this is exactly what I have done. This is how good I am in the market. Nobody wants to hear, I optimize by 15%, I blah, blah, blah by that, and that all of that is amazing, right? All of those numbers are really amazing. But then what does that look like? People want to see. I would always lean towards show and tell when it comes to job applications. The usual saying is show, not tell, but I would lean towards show and tell. That is how you get the best out of both worlds. So now the way we start this is the first thing, because when you're applying for jobs, people want to see your resume first. They want to see your CV. So the first thing that people do is, or what that we do for people is that we help them revamp their CVs. So you submit your CVs to us a few weeks into the start of your program, and then our team, our coaches on ground would help you rework your CV, would build a template for you that can break barriers and get you into doors anywhere. So all that is left is now for you to consistently change that, tailor your resume to be a perfect fit for every job that you apply to. So the first step is to build a resume that gets you noticed anywhere. I mean, today, for example, some people still have their state on their resume. Nobody cares about your state. Some people don't know what the most important information should be, should look like on their resume. And that is what we help you take care of. Now, the next step is that we teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile and build the one that actually gets recruiters to message you. If you've ever gotten a job, like a notification in your email, and when I say email, I mean your LinkedIn email, where you just notified of a job and somebody says, oh, maybe you'd like to apply to this job, then you're doing something right. Whatever it is that you're doing, double down on it. But if you have a LinkedIn profile here today and nobody has ever reached out to you to say, hey, do you think maybe you might want to apply for this job, then your LinkedIn profile is not optimized. I regret to inform you, but that is exactly why we are here. So we're going to show you exactly how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile and take it from where it is right now to where it needs to be. So you can start to get the attention that you need in order for you to lock down the jobs that you are driving. Now, the next thing that we do, like I mentioned earlier before, is that we help you navigate the job market. Now, how do we help you navigate the job market? When you go on job hunt sites, for example, like LinkedIn, like Indeed, like Monster, Built-in, and the rest of them, there just so many jobs are listed, and all of these jobs that are listed, you're not the only person seeing them. You're just like one of tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, and millions of people who are seeing that job and who is qualified for that role. So when you apply, chances that your resume just goes into a chasm is very high. But then again, so a few things, like if you follow this process, that actually increases your chances of visibility. Like you are optimizing your CV for ATS. ATS is the scanner that most recruiters are using right now. And that scanner, what it does is that it picks out certain keywords from your resume. So if your resume does not, if I post a job now and I say I'm looking for a project manager. And part of what is on my job description is for that project manager to know how to use Asana. What this ATS system will do is it will check your resume and see if Asana is listed there. If Asana is not listed there, and that is a criteria for me, like one of my important criteria, it disqualifies you immediately. So now imagine that you're applying, you're navigating the job market using all of these public boards that are available to lots and lots of people who have heard the same advice, which is optimize your resume for every job. And now they're looking at the job descriptions and they're putting in all of these keywords. Now the ATS is picking them up, but you're not doing that, so you're not being picked up. Or maybe you're doing that, but because there's just so many people for them to choose from, you're invisible. That is exactly why what we do is we partner with private job boards to get access to jobs that are not listed publicly, or jobs that have very low competition, and we give you access to this so that you can apply, which increases the possibility of you landing a job in record time. Now, part of what we also do are interview prep sessions, and I have to say that this is one that I'm always very excited for. And I say that because you see people who are just like you, who've been in the program for like 2-3 months, and then they come in and they are introducing themselves on the call. We've got about maybe sometimes like 100 people on the call, maybe 200, and they've got a panel that is interviewing them and asking them questions that they would definitely be asked when they go into job interviews. Now, part of why I really like this system is because it simulates a stress environment. Sometimes you go in for job interviews, and I don't know if anyone here has ever experienced it, but I've spoken to a bunch of people who've experienced it, and I would say that also happened to me very early on in my career, where you would go in for a job but then you can't talk. Tell me about yourself. You're like, uh, 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 actually, and then you start to stammer. You can't defend what is on your resume. And it's not because you don't know it, it's not because you can't get the job done, but it's because you're so anxious, you're so nervous, and you can barely get the words out. And that is exactly what this interview prep session is designed to prevent, because now we simulate this high stake environment, and you're in a pressure cooker basically, where you've got lots of people who are looking at you and your video is turned on and you're introducing yourself and talking about what you've done. So when you go through a process like this, and of course this is if you want to go through this process, this is open for anyone who wants to apply. We do get lots and lots of applications on this, but when you go through a process like this, tell me how you would be on a call or an interview with 2-3 people, or even with a panel of 5 or 10, and you're intimidated because you spoke to 100, 150 people and you made it through. So this is part of the reasons why I really love the interview prep sessions. Now, part of what we also provide is job reference. Now, job reference is very important because when you're applying for jobs, one thing we always encourage people who come into our program to do is put Tenalytics on your profile, list your experience as consultant. Say I was consulting in Tenalytics, and since I'm going to explain more about this, but we have a program where you learn for 6 months with Tenalytics that is registered in Canada, and then you go on to learn with our partner, a sister company, Dari, that is registered in the UK. Now, when you list Tenalytics on your job as a consultant, and then you list Dari as well on your job as a consultant, for someone who is coming from maybe Africa, and you don't have that diaspora experience. And I'm going to tell you that this is part of what companies in the West are looking out for. If you don't have that diaspora experience, nobody wants to engage with you because you're thinking you're not really familiar with the market. So how do I know that you can actually do the job here? Or maybe you did the job in Nigeria, maybe you did it in Kenya, maybe you did it in South Africa, but how do I know that you can actually replicate the same results in the UK? So that is part of what we help you solve. And then another critical part is job reference. Nobody's going to bring you on board without doing a job reference, like without asking the people that you say you've worked with the right questions, at least not these days. So we've helped thousands of people do their job references. They list their experience with us in Tenalytics or with Dari as consultants. And whenever the people reach out, their HR reaches out to us to provide job reference for them. We are always there to do that. Now, we also provide on-the-job support for our learners as well. I'm going to give you an example. Recently, we had one of our learners reach out to us. He said he had to use a new system that he's never worked with before. And he was wondering, how exactly can I navigate this? And what we did was that we got on a call, we got a consultant, and we were able to like walk this person through the system with the consultant. And this consultant was someone in our program who has actually worked with this system, who was very familiar with it, a HRIS system. And we walked through it with this person. Now, bear in mind that this person went through our program that was sometime last year and graduated early last year. I think it was in June 2024. that the person completed the program, and then eventually got a job, got another job again, and now in this new company there is an unfamiliar system. And yet this person was able to reach out over a year later to Tenalytics and say, hey, I need support. Can you guys help me out? And we did that with no charge. Come on, guys. I don't know. Is there anywhere else where you're provided with support like this and where people actually hold your hands and say, our goal is for you to get a job. And then after you get this job, our next goal is for you to be successful at that job. That is exactly what we do in Tenalytics that really sets us apart from what we have in the market. Now, another thing is weekly mentorship sessions. So in our weekly mentorship sessions, we are walking you through, we're providing you with all the knowledge that you need in order for you to navigate the market when you get into it. Like I said earlier, what we focus on are real world examples, and we bring in people who have been exactly where you are before, people who are making the numbers that you want to make, people who have the experience, people who have the knowledge that you're looking for, and we get these people to talk to you, to walk you through their journey, their experience, how they got to where they are. And you're free to ask questions in our mentorship sessions. Again, this is also value that you rarely get anywhere else. Now, another thing is Upwork optimization. So we also help you out with the Upwork optimization, and we do this because maybe you just relocated and you need to really secure yourself in this new location. As much as you want to learn, you do have to earn as well. You want to earn while you are learning. So we help you out with your Upwork optimization. A lot of people actually struggle with this. There are loads and loads of tutorial videos on YouTube that is dedicated to just Upwork optimization. That is to tell you how it might be simple sometimes, but it can also be incredibly technical. We've also seen cases of people who have won just with this model using Upwork before they eventually went on to get or secure roles that they were incredibly happy with. Now, I've touched on previously on what the learning model looks like. So you learn 6 months with 10 analytics. And we always advise people, when you come into Tenalytics, immediately update your LinkedIn account. And if you don't have a LinkedIn account, please don't talk to me. I'm just joking, but you should have a LinkedIn account. It's very important. This is how you're visible. This is how people notice you. This is how people see all the amazing things that you're doing and all the changes that you're making in your career. So you want to go on your LinkedIn and you want to update update your experience with Tenalytics, put yourself in as a consultant. We always tell people, don't say you're learning with Tenalytics. Instead, list yourself as a consultant with Tenalytics. And then by the time you are done with this, the next step is you move on to Amdari. So you spend 6 months learning with Tenalytics. Then after you have completed your capstone project, you move on to Amdari, where you spend 2 months in an internship program. And this is part of what I really, really love, that you have the unique opportunity of putting both Tenalytics and Amdari on your resume, on your LinkedIn, and you also have the opportunity to build projects in Amdari and use that to boost your portfolio so that when these recruiters are looking at, oh, I can see the skills here, but how are these skills being applied? Your portfolio can answer that. And that is a very critical part of the Tenalytics process that you get with Amdari. So you learn with Tenalytics, and then with Amdari, you now have the internship program. We've been in this business a while and we have tried different models, and this is what we found to be the most successful. So now let's talk about the last part of the process. Let's talk about the last part of the process. We are very close to the end of this session. So if you have any questions for me, start to prepare your questions, because once I wrap this up, then I'm going to be taking questions from anyone who has them. Now let's talk about apply. And we would always say, apply like a machine, but with precision. And this is the part where most people get it wrong. Most people send out 100 generic applications and they're wondering, hey, nobody's calling me back. Nobody's saying hi in my emails. Nobody's calling me to take interviews. Or maybe they apply once a week and they expect that they are going to get callbacks. Now, on average, you need to apply to at least 100 jobs before you get one interview, on average. So imagine how long it's going to take you if you're submitting 7 applications a week. It simply means that you're not ready to step up. So what we do is that we teach you to apply, but we teach you to do this with intention and with discipline. We've built a world standard resume for you. We've shown you how to tailor your application for every how to tailor your application for every role that you apply to. Now, all you have to do is find the best roles that fit what you are looking for and what you're looking to achieve on the long term or in the long term, and apply to those. Now, we always advise people that it is important to target nothing less than 10 quality applications per day so that you're not wasting your time with low effort ones. So you cannot be looking for a remote job in 2025 and you're applying on the same platform that everybody else is applying to, right? I've said this before, you cannot be applying on the same platforms where everybody is applying to. You probably will never get the solutions that you're looking for. And remember that previously we had touched on how some of these roles, they have subsets. You're a business analyst, and then you enter the job market. You're looking for business analyst listings. Meanwhile, they are actually listings under process automation specialists. It's literally what a business analyst does, but the title has been changed. And you're wondering, I'm not finding jobs for business analysts. So part of that, and also because applying in a saturated market might not get you the results that you're looking for in the time that you're looking for. So I'm not saying that if you apply on these saturated job boards that you will not get the results you're looking for. It's more of the timeline that I'm talking about. And that is exactly why part of what we do at Tenalytics is that we help you tap into these hidden job markets. You cannot be looking for a remote job and you're applying on the same platform where everybody else is applying. We partner with these platforms, with these private job boards, and then we pay them to get sure that we get access to jobs that are not publicly listed or that you wouldn't necessarily find in a normal day if you don't have access to these sites. Now, one of them is the visa jobs. The visa jobs that you get access to, the ones that come with sponsorship. And this is also part of what we also look into when we are compiling these jobs. We look at what visa is this job eligible for, because that is a critical part for people who are applying for jobs, especially when they go through our program. Does this job come with visa sponsorship? So what we do is that every week we scrape the job board and we vet all of these listed jobs just to be sure that these are jobs that you can actually apply to. And like I said before, sometimes some of them have a different title. And then what we do is we compile all of this, we put them into a spreadsheet, just like what you can see here. We make this process easier for you, and then we send this to everyone in our community. And we do this every single week. And then you can find all of these jobs that you wouldn't necessarily have found if we did not do all of this work for you. So you have access to a new list every single week, and all you have to do is just dedicate the time to apply to these jobs. Again, I keep on mentioning, part of what we are looking at, or part of what helps us win, is we look at how can we get you the skills that you need, and then how can we ensure that you use those skills to get a job. So this way you tap into paid job boards, network referrals, and hidden job markets that most people don't even know exist. So when you put all of this together, you get the learn, you get the package, you get the apply. Now, part of what we also do as well is we also help our students with mentorship sessions. Like I mentioned before, look at this one, for example. This one talks about how you can apply for jobs. We also have some on how you can optimize your resume. We have some that talks about, oh, don't wait until you meet all of the criteria before you apply for jobs. And we pull in people who have been exactly in your position who can walk you through this. Again, when you compile all of this together, you get the framework for the learn, the package, and the apply. Everything designed to ensure that you win in the market. You've got a system that builds the exact experience hiring managers are looking for, and you can back it up with proof. So let me know in the comment section, which part of this system do you think you've been missing in your job search? Have you been missing the learning? Have you been missing the packaging? Or have you been missing the applying? Or maybe it's the entire framework that your process has been missing all this while. So share it with us. Let's know what we've been missing in our job application. Tell me, learning, packaging, or applying? Where have you been getting it wrong? The entire framework. Interesting, Opeyemi. iPhone says, honestly, all. Matilda says, the entire framework. Okay. Priscilla says, applying. I can understand. That's where a lot of people also get it wrong. Grace says, the entire framework. So one thing that we're seeing here, one pattern that we're seeing here is that a lot of people are missing when it comes to the entire framework, and that is 100% understandable. I want you to keep this in mind. You are not alone. A lot of people who have walked through Tenalytics doors have been in the same position that you have been in, and we've been able to take them from where they were to where they need to be. I've walked you through Judith's story. I've walked you through at that story. I've walked you through Hope's story, rather, and you can see how all of these people did all of this and they got the result that they were looking for by applying, consistently applying the learn, the package, and the apply framework, and they use that to get a job. And don't worry about it, guys. What we're going to do is you come into the Tenalytics program, and I'm going to urge you that you start immediately. The earlier you start, the earlier you can get the learn side of the framework out of the way. And then you can move on to the packaging side of the framework, which is where we help you package your CV, we help you with your portfolio, and everything else that you need in order for you to stand out in the market. Once you get past that, then we move on to apply. And we've been doing this for lots and lots of years. We've actually thought about a solution for every single one of this. Is it, oh, I don't have the time to apply? Or is it, oh, I'm not sure how I'm going to do my LinkedIn optimization? What we would say is just start. And when you need help, reach out for help, and we would always provide support to you. Just like that guy who reached out over a year after his program and he said, hey, I need support, and we were available to provide him with the support. Now, I'm sure that you must have gone through our YouTube, LinkedIn. If you haven't, I highly suggest that you do. You must have seen lots and lots of testimonials. I've shared 2 stories with you so far, and this is just some more stories of people who have come through our pipeline and who are doing incredible things for themselves. This is Ikmat. She was a full stay-at-home mom, and she moved to the UK for her master's. She joined our data analytics training program, and she was able to secure a job with the NHS. And that job came with a full visa sponsorship. There's also Ramat as well, who was working as a customer success rep in the UK. And then she came in, she joined our business analysis training program, and she secured a job as a business architect with the NHS. And again, that also came with full visa sponsorship. We've got loads and loads of amazing testimonials from really amazing people. So I'm just going to choose one here. Let's watch the story of Ramat.
Hi, good day. My name is Ramat, and if you're stumbling on this, trust me, you've landed in the right place because I'm going to be briefly sharing my experience with you about my journey with Tenalytics and how I was able to get a job within 3 months of joining the cohort. I joined them and enrolled for the course. Tenalytics has well-seasoned facilitators who are experts in the field. Imagine not having any experience beforehand as a business analyst and finishing with Tenalytics as a pro. Personally, I also got interview preparation sessions that helped me prepare well for my interviews, and this enabled me ace my interview. So if you're looking to transition or you're having any doubt, trust me, you shouldn't, because Tenalytics is really amazing and you should consider enrolling.
You heard it from Ramat herself. on how she was able to secure a job after her program with Tenalytics. Again, guys, please don't forget to fill out the form that my colleague Fee is dropping in the chat section so you can get access to this recording and you can go watch all of these incredible, amazing reviews that we've got from really amazing people. We've got Louis here, who was an accountant and a procurement professional. And she had, Louis had zero experience in tech. When she joined our business analysis program, she was at point zero, which is where a lot of people are today. And she was able to go from that point where she was to securing a job as a project manager in the UK. I could go on and on and on about all of these amazing people and how they have used the learn, the package, and the apply framework in order for them to get a job and to position themselves in the markets. For example, this is Amaka here, and Amaka was out of a job for over 6 months in Canada. And you can imagine what being out of a job for 6 months in a place like Canada was. So by the time Amaka joined our program in July 2024, she was completely hopeless. She thought, I'm not sure what is going on. Maybe I have to go back to school. Maybe I have to go restart this entire process again. However, things took a complete change for Amaka when she completed her program by December 2024, and she was already securing and locking down multiple interviews for herself. And at the end of the day, she was able to secure a job as a HR data analyst. Now you can see this is a chat that she sent to one of our facilitators, and she said, "Hello, Priscilla. Happy New Year. I am overwhelmed with good news. I have 3 job interviews. Most importantly, and part of what I also want us to keep in mind here is that she was comfortable enough to reach out to her facilitator and say, oh, this is the amazing thing that I have been able to accomplish, and because of that kind of relationship that they built. So this also speaks to what I mentioned before, the power in community. Because one thing that we believe in Tenalytics is that nobody walks alone. So this is Amaka's testimony. And again, when you get this, you can actually click here and go watch it in full. I'll just move us forward so that we can wrap this up. I know that probably we have some questions here. And then once I'm done with this, you can just walk me through your questions quickly. So we've got some really, really amazing stories from very amazing people who have been successful using the same system. And if you want to be one of these people, I would suggest that you start your program as soon as possible. So now let's quickly talk about what you're going to learn when you join the Tenalytics program. I've already broken down most of these courses to you, so you're already familiar with them. You're familiar with what these courses actually solve, or the problem areas that they focus on. So I'll just quickly walk you through it. So if you join as a business analyst, or you're taking a business analyst course with Tenalytics, part of what you're going to learn is Excel. You're going to be learning process mapping. You're going to be learning Power BI, SQL. You're going to be learning Agile and Scrum for projects. And keep in mind, this is part of why I say that many of these roles, especially these non-technical roles, they have what we call transferable skills. So at their foundation, if you choose to learn, say you go for business analysis, you can always make a move to data analytics, and then everything that you have learned as a business analyst is actually a huge advantage to you, because you're able to draw from your transferable skills to be extremely exceptional at what you do. So we also teach you how to use Chat GPT as well for business analysis. And this is very critical because, again, like I mentioned before, the world is changing, and it's changing very, very fast. AI is now a huge part of how we work. You're going to see this repeated across all of the courses that we offer, like Agile Project Manager as well. We offer things like foundations of Agile and Scrum. Do you see the resemblance between that and what we offer in business analysts? We teach you how to use things like Jira and Confluence, how to use Kanban boards for workflow management. We teach you leadership, we teach you real world application. All of this are what you're going to use to position yourself in the market. Now, as a project manager, what companies are going to be paying you for is for you to build projects for them efficiently, take it to market quickly. As a business analyst, what companies are going to be paying you for is for you to dismantle their business processes and say, this is what we need to fix in order for you to optimize this. This is what we need to scale up in order for you to make X amount. That is exactly what businesses would be paying you for. Now, moving on to the next roles, we've got data engineer. Now, as a data engineer, we're going to be teaching you a couple of things, which includes data engineering. And we're going to start, of course, with an introduction, just in case you need that foundation to get you started. We're going to be teaching you things like Python programming, how to build custom ETL programs. And I've mentioned this before and how important the data engineering role is, and some of the amazing things that you can do as a data engineer and the subsets that you can go into as a data engineer. And of course, you're also going to be learning things like ChatGPT, GitHub Copilot. You're going to be learning cloud engineering, APIs, web scraping, etc. All of these are what you need in order for you to build a career as a data engineer and maybe make a pivot into something else if that is what you want to do. Then you're also going to be learning different tools as well: Google Cloud, SQL, GitHub, Microsoft Azure. I've mentioned this before. So moving on to data scientists. As a data scientist, your key learning areas is going to include Microsoft Excel, SQL, machine learning, computer vision, GitHub, version control. Again, we're seeing this again, ChatGPT, Microsoft Fabrics for analytics. And this is you can see here that you see some of these tools that you see here for data engineering. You're also seeing repetitions as well for data scientists. And like I mentioned before, many of these roles offer transferable skills. So if you're a data scientist, you already have the foundation that you can use to pivot if you want into becoming a full stack data scientist. If you're a full stack data scientist, you already have the foundation to pivot into data engineering if that's what you want. And that's part of what I would say is one of the most amazing things about this, is how you can always leverage. No knowledge is wasted, basically. Now, we've also got data analysts as well. Now, what we teach for data analysts are things like problem solving. We teach you how you can use Excel, how you use SQL, Power BI, how you can use Tableau, data story, telling, etc. And we do this because what do data analysts do? Data analysts use data to tell a story. And at the minimum, at the bare minimum, when you become a data analyst, this is exactly what you should be able to accomplish. Now, you can also see repetitions as well here when it comes to the tools like SQL, Power BI, Excel, ChatGPT, which again is why I said when you learn any of these roles, you can always make a pivot. And the experience that you have built in the first one, it makes you dangerous in the market. Very, very dangerous. Now, for all of these courses, we've got our Saturday live classes, and our Saturday live classes happen in the morning between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And this is based off the West African time zone. So you can check out what that looks like in your time. And then in the evening as well, we also do this between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. And this again is also based off the West African time zone. And then we've also got the self-paced video, like I mentioned before. These are videos that you can watch at your own time, at your own pace. But usually what is expected is that the videos that are assigned to you to watch the week before, that you watch those videos so that when you come into class, you would have a very good understanding of what was taught, and you can have a conversation, or you would have questions that you need your facilitator to help you answer. And that is where you now get the answers to those questions. You can also collaborate with the people in your pods, in your learning pod. Like I mentioned before, we break people down into smaller communities so that you can have a learning community that you can leverage off of. And the learning timeline for this in total is 8 months, where you spend 6 months learning and then 2 months doing your internship. We've also got the financial analyst as well. And the key areas that we focus on here: problem solving, that is very important for someone who is dealing with data that involves money or that moves money. Excel, Power BI, SQL, the fundamentals of accounting, valuation, ChatGPT for analytics, etc. We've also got the HR analyst as well. And you can see that it's sort of the same as well. So you can always pivot from HR analyst into financial analyst. And if you have enough passion, enough interest, you can also move to business analyst as well. So here you learn problem solving, Excel, Power BI, HR metrics and life cycle, HR analysis and dashboarding, etc. All of these are tools that are important for you to say, hey, this is the health of the company when it comes to our employees. This is how well we are doing. This is the life cycle of an average employee, etc. And that's part of what makes HR analysts very interesting. For people who are going into this role, you have to love people. You have to love solving problems that impact people. So if you're someone who is passionate about solving problems, changing organization systems and building things that make people very happy to come to work every day, then chances are you should be going for the HR analyst role. Now for this, the same model also applies for our live classes. Morning, evening. The morning happens between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. In the evening between 6 p.m. to 9 a.m. And the learning timeline is also the same as well. Now, last but not least, we've got the cybersecurity analyst. And what you learn here is how you can detect, analyze, and stop digital threats. You're also going to learn how you can protect sensitive data and business operations from breaches. You're going to learn things like threat detection and response, open source intelligence, compliance audits, and policy development, which is why I said if you've worked in, maybe compliance before, that if you pivot into cybersecurity analyst, it would not be that much of a stretch. So for this, you're going to master tools like Wireshark. You're going to master tools like Splunk, Security Onion, etc. So all of these tools are what make you fantastic and dangerous at what you do. And this same model also applies as well when it comes to cybersecurity for our classes. We do them in the morning between 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Watt, and in the evening between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Watt. And then of course you also have your self-paced videos that you can watch whenever you want to. Now, just to reiterate what our program duration looks like, you learn for 6 months with Tenalytics, and then for 2 months, you are dealing your internship with Dari. 6 months of learning with Tenalytics. And then after that, once you are done with your capstone, you move on to your 2-month internship with Dari. And again, our live classes happen in the morning, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. and in the evening, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. You can join either the morning class or the evening class, depending on which one works for your schedule and your timing. And then, of course, you also have access to the self-paced videos. Like I mentioned before, we also have weekly mentorship sessions and interview preps. And those happen on Thursdays, 10 p.m. Watt. And your interview preps happen on Thursdays, 8 p.m. MST. So it really depends on if you can just, what I usually advise people to do is lock down time on your calendar once you sign up to the program. Another thing to also note is that all of these classes, just in case you miss any of them, they are recorded and they are made available to you on your dashboard as well. So if you miss anyone, you can always access it. So now that I know that we have all gone through the quiz, we've gone through the LPA model, and we've gone through all of the courses that we have available. We've gone through the data that backs these courses that we have available. Now we're all thinking, when do I start? For those of us who are ready to start on this call, the next question is, when do I start? But I don't want to be presumptuous. If you are ready to start, You've heard everything that I've said, and you are ready to change your life starting today. You've said to yourself, I'm going to take this market by the horns. I'm going to apply myself 100%. I am set to do what needs to be done to prove my competence over my credentials. I want you to type in a let's go in the chat section. Let us know that you are pumped and that you are ready to start. Type in a let's go in the chat section. Fantastic. Let's go from Grace. Okay, gift, let's go. Opayemi, let's go. Okay, everybody's super pumped up. That is very exciting. Okay, so as you can see here on my screen, our next cohort starts in September 6th. September 6th, 2025. And when you think about it, September is not so far. So I would advise that you lock it down immediately. Now, this is what we offer in Tenalytics. Normally, our courses are $1,000. However, you've got the option of paying $750 at a discounted rate of 20%. I'm going to say that again. You've got the option of paying $750 at a discounted rate of 20%. However, that only applies for the first 20 people in each cohort. I'm going to say that again. That discount only applies for the first 20 people in each cohort. So if you are ready to take everything, you're ready to take it by its horns today, just like you mentioned when you were saying, let's go, lock it down immediately so that you also get access to this discount. Now, you have different ways that you can make your payments. You can click, my colleagues are also going to be sharing a link for you to make direct payments as well in the chat, or you can just use your phone to scan this QR code, and it's going to lead you directly to where you can make payments for this program. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to be walking you through so that you understand how you can do payments when it's time for you to do that. Now you come into the Tenalytics website. Just give me a moment, please. I'm going to demo this in a different place. I'll be using our dev environments to demo this so that we can walk through the entire process. So you come into your Get Started, or the link that my colleagues will be sharing in the chat, that leads you directly to this page. Now, all of these courses that we've been talking about, data analytics, business analysis, full stack data sciences, data engineering, whatever it is that you want to go for, you're going to come here and you're going to click on it. You can also see here that the discount has been automatically applied. Now, by the time the seat is full for each course, this automatically locks and it takes it back to $1,000. I'm going to say that again. By the time the seat is full and it reaches its max, which is 20 for each, 20 in data analytics, in business analysis, in financial analytics, this automatically locks and you lose access to this discount. So if you're ready, lock it down today. So once you click on your preferred course, you're going to come here and you can just see more information about it just in case you're curious. You can check out what your curriculum is going to look like. You can check out who your course instructors are. You can also see what business opportunities abound for this role. So now let's say you're ready to lock this down. You can also just go directly to enroll now. When you click on enroll now, it leads you to a page where you're going to put in your details. So I'm going to put in my name here, Lola Femi. Just give me a minute, please. I'm also going to put in an email address here as well. And then I'm also going to put in my Nigerian number here. Okay, so now once you're done with this step, you select that you have read the Tenalytics terms and conditions, and I would usually, advise that you go through it. The next step would be for you to create your account. Now you can see here that an account has been created, and I can just check my email for the login details. I'm going to show you what that looks like here. So this is just a test email that I'm using currently to test this out, but just to show you what I should have gotten in my email. Okay, we're going to give that a second to load up. While it's loading up, let's just continue with our test. So now you're going to come here, you're going to select your preferred cohort. The September cohort, or do you want to start with the October cohort? You would always have two options on this page here, and you can also see the start dates for each cohort. The cohort in September starts on the 6th of September, and the cohort in October starts on the 4th of October. So I'm going to select the 6th of September because I'm one of those people who's ready to start right now. Now you have different options. You can either make a full payment or you can pay in monthly installments. You can either make full payments here or you can pay in monthly installments. Now, what this is going to do is that you're always going to see this in whatever currency you're going to be paying in. So just keep that in mind, so that currency is going to change depending on where your location is. Now, once you click on the next button, this step is for you to confirm your enrollment. So I would always advise that you look through it, especially your email section, because this is where we're going to be signing you into, we're going to be creating your LMS account, which is your learning account. And you want to ensure that this email address is correct and it's what you actually use before you make payments. You can also see your due date. This is your due date for you can also see the due dates for your next payment if that was the case. But in this case, we are making full payment. I'm just going to go back here. I want you to see what that process looks like. If you select payments in installments, I'm going to select 3 installments so you can see what it looks like if you're paying in installments. You can see here that this is when you're making your first payment, which is today, August 16th, 2025. This is when you make your second payment, which is September 16th, 2025. And this is when you make the third payment, which is October 16th, 2025. Now, if you are paying in installments, you are still getting your discount. Please note that your discount is applied so long as you are one of the first 20 people to get in here and lock down your discount. So now the next step here is for me to confirm that my information is correct and that I have read the terms and conditions applied here. So now I'm just going to click on pay now, and it's going to lead me to the page where I can put in my card details and complete my payment. Let's just give that a minute to load up. So while we're doing that, I'm just going to take us here. Can you see that I've received 2 different kinds of emails? The first one I received is the verify your email link. And then the second one I received is your Tenalytics account password. So you can always come back to this once you are done creating your account. There is no rush for this. If you need a new verification link, that is also going to be sent to you as well. You have your verification link here, and then you also have, remember that your account has been created, so you also have a password that was auto generated for you. And I would advise that you log in and you change your password. So this is your email, and this is my email address, and this is the password that has been auto generated for me by the LMS. So as you can see here that I'm getting the prompt to also change my password. So keep that top of mind. Now I'm just going to click on pay now to complete this process, and that is leading me to Paystack. So in this section, I will just complete my payment here. I would put in, whatever method it is I want to use to do this payment. We also have different methods as well. So depending on where you're accessing this from and what the system sees as the best tool to redirect you to, you can be redirected to Stripe for you to complete your payment process. Now, when you're redirected to Stripe, you're going to put in your account details, which is your card details, put in your expiring date, and then that redirects you to complete your payment on Stripe. Once you are done completing your payment on Stripe, you are immediately authorized to access the system by the LMS, and you instantly gain access to your dashboard. I'm just going to go back and I'm just going to log in so you can see what that looks like when you gain access to your dashboard. Please give me a minute to do that. Okay. Just give me a minute to log in so I can show you what this looks like. Okay, so if you, at this point, you should have already gotten access. Okay, I'm not sure why this is showing my password. I'm just gonna, okay, yeah, this is fine. Okay, my password is invalid. That is very odd, but bear with me. Let me quickly go through the process of setting this up. I would love to show you what this looks like once you've been able to do your payments. Just stay with me, please. But in the meantime, while I'm doing this, if you've got any questions that you would like me to answer, please feel free to send me those questions and I will deal them as soon as we're done with this. I'm just resetting my password now, and I should be back in a minute with you. Okay, so that's how fast it is. All done, and I'm going to be logging in a minute. Please give me a minute. I'm almost done with this. Again, while I'm doing this, please drop any questions or any comments that you have in the chat box, and I will respond once I am done with this. Fantastic. So I'm just going to go back to my login. This is odd. Okay. Just give me a minute, please. I'm not sure the system is recognizing my email address. Okay. Just a minute. I'm just going to log in with a completely different account. Okay. I think we should be good now. Okay. Fantastic. Okay, maybe we are experiencing some issues with our LMS at the moment, but we will definitely look into this to figure out why this is down. I don't want to keep us here, so I'll just move on. And what we're going to do is we're going to upload what this should actually look like alongside this video as well. My deepest apologies for not being able to fully demo this part and what that should look like. But when you follow the process that I have laid out here, you can just use your phone to scan this QR code, or you can click on this button here that will lead you to this page. You can use the ones that my colleagues are sharing in the comment section to access this, and you should definitely be able to access and complete your payments. We're going to look into what is wrong with this right now. It's just one of those tech things, one of those tech days happening at the very, very wrong time, if you ask me. So I would say that completes my presentation, and I just want to quickly highlights the importance of you taking advantage of your discount here. Take advantage of this, and you're able, if you decide you want to pay in 5 installments, you do have access to that. So you can pay $150 for the next 5 months and complete your payment. If you decide you want to make full payment, that is also amazing. You can also do that here as well. Now, another bonus that you also get to this, just a quick one, I'm wrapping up now. Another bonus is that you can also make, when you make your first installments within the next 24 hours after this masterclass session, you also get free access to Andari's Vault. And that is very important because remember what I said in the portfolio section, show and tell. So with this, you have lots of projects that you can work on real life project, real life business cases. And this can go in your portfolio to show recruiters just how amazing you are and how you're fantastic at using the skills that you have learned with Tenalytics to achieve real life results. So I'm just going to stop here. I know that we may have some people who have some questions. I've mentioned this before that our discount is for the first 20 people to make payments in each group. So if you lock this down today, you get access to this discount. And if somebody else gets there before you, then you do not get access to the discount. So this is a first come, first serve basis. So I don't know if we have any questions or anyone wants to ask me a question, feel free to raise your hand. Okay, I'm seeing a question from HP. What's the next cohort after the 6th of September? Well, the next cohort is the cohort that's starting in October, and that starts on the 4th of October. So you can make payments for the October cohort if maybe perchance September is not a good time for you to deal. So feel free you can also lock down the next cohort after that, which is the cohort that starts in October. Okay, so if you've got questions, feel free to drop them in the chat section. I'll just look in here for a couple of questions that I can answer before we call this a day. Okay, which of the career plans offer more opportunities to work from home with companies in USA? I am based in the UK. Nancy, okay, that is a fantastic question. So if you're in the US, if you're in the UK and you're looking to work with companies in the USA, you could always go for business analysis or you could go for data analytics. But at the end of the day, all of these career paths that we have listed out, they are all incredibly sought after, and you can get a job from anywhere in the world with companies anywhere in the world because these jobs are in high demand. These companies are expanding every day, and they're looking for people, talented people to fill these roles. But since you're in the UK and you're looking to work with companies in the USA specifically, you can look into business analysis that is exploding over there, and you can also look into data analytics as well. Okay, do we have any other questions? Are there no markets in other countries in Europe like Germany? You only emphasize jobs in US, UK, and Canada. Okay, Charles, I hear your question. However, in the beginning, I did touch on Germany as well. Now, the reason why we focus on jobs in the US, in the UK, and in Canada is part of what we are looking at is the number of people that we have who are searching for jobs in this location, the number of people who are in this location who are people, African talent in diaspora. However, whatever it is that usually applies in US, UK, and Canada, most likely it applies in Germany as well. And when I say most likely, I mean 100% applicable in those markets as well. For example, you've got cybersecurity that's blowing up over there as well. You've got roles like data engineering that's blowing up over there as well. Like I mentioned at the start of this conversation, the beauty of tech is that tech is boundless. And because of this, because of all of these companies that are popping up in the tech world, because of AI and the market's boom, the drive that it's bringing, the new job opportunities it's creating, in all of these markets where we have first world countries, in all of these markets, you're always going to see an expansion in these roles. And this is the best time for you to get into it. Abisola is asking data versus business analysis, which is a better career path in the UK with a lot of working remotely. So Abisola, my response to that would be both of them. Actually, you can get a job working remotely as a data analyst. You can also get a job working remotely as a business analyst in the UK. It's all about positioning, which is why we have shared the learn, the package, and the apply model so that you understand how to do this end to end. As a nurse, which of the program is good for my field? So Diana, I would advise that you take the personality quiz for you to find out which one would closely align with what you do right now. However, I would suggest maybe if you can maybe look into agile projects management. You can also look into data analytics as well. So it really depends on what your kind of nurse is, what kind of data you dealt with, what kind of people you dealt with. All of that is what will guide you in what direction you should go. However, if you're also confused, maybe you've taken the tech quiz, you're not sure what career path you're leaning towards, I would also advise that you book a clarity session with our team, which is basically where you have a one-on-one with someone, with a professional who's going to walk you through all of the options that you have available to you and how you can get yourself from where you are right now to where you need to be. Okay, so I would say that's about it. I think that we have more questions coming up, but unfortunately, I will be unable to answer all of these questions. I know I've kept everyone here for quite some time, so thank you very much for staying with us from the start of this session till the end of this session. I can see someone asking, how do I book? Okay, you're asking how do you book a clarity session? My colleagues have dropped a link here, so you can just scroll forward and you can look into the one that says get this limited spot. I'm just going to post this again for anyone who maybe missed this. So you can use this. Please fill this form and you're going to get this recording that we use for this masterclass. And you're also going to have the opportunity to maybe speak with someone from the Clarity team if you need more clarity on the professional path that is best suited for your personality. Thank you very much for joining us today and looking forward to everyone here achieving their wildest dreams, because I'm going to leave you with this. It is 100% possible for you, but get started on locking it down today. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you guys in maybe our next tech series.